self-serving, persuasive talkers
of everything and nothing.
We are Conversation Con Artists.
What's going on, people? It's your boy, Mr. On Point.
And I am Calamity Red.
And we are Conversation Con Artists, back for another wonderful, fantastic episode. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. MISTER on Point, and on TikTok at Eddie B Talking and Eddie B Eating.
You have a new one?
Yeah. Well, I made it so that I can use it to be in my lives and responding to people when I'm like playing the game on my lives, because my phone is recording the TV until I get a stream key or whatever. But yeah, and I'm just gonna use it for like food reactions and stuff.
Well, I could be found at red_calamity. We're still doing the listener letter portion of the show, so if you have a question, comment, Reddit letter that you would like for us to respond to, you can send it to the aforementioned social media, or you can find us on Gmail, conversationconartists@gmail.com. Do we have any letters?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I'll go check while we figure out what we're gonna do. While you figure out what you're gonna do next.
Well, of course, I have some Reddits from Am I the Asshole? All of these were assholes according to Reddit.
Okay.
There was one I really wanted to do because I was like, okay, this one. Am I the asshole for causing a scene at my mother-in-law's wedding after I found out that my husband was there against my wishes? You know how stupid that sounds?
Say that again.
Am I the asshole for causing a scene at my mother-in-law's wedding after I found out that my husband was there against my wishes? That's her son. What you mean? Why would her son not be at her wedding? She's not your mama. How you gonna tell her not to invite her son? And you just her.
How bad does a situation have to be that a wife expects her mother-in-law not to have her son at the wedding, and for the son to not go to the wedding? What happened?
I don't know. That's why I was like, this gotta be. Let me see. So let's see.
And you said you chose ones where they are the asshole.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I don't see no way out of being the asshole on this one.
Yeah, I don't either.
It's one of them people who don't know where they at.
She's 26. Doesn't say how old the husband is. Probably around her age, I would assume. My husband's mom and I don't get along at all. It was fine at first till our disagreement started to get bigger. Our last disagreement was because of her wanting to sell the family house and give her older son more money than my husband. Mother-in-law told me to stay out of it, and my husband said he was fine with it. She ended up putting some distance between us and stopped inviting me to events. Fine. But I told my husband I expect him to stay home with me when I'm uninvited. Girl. Oh, girl. She got married days ago. It goes without saying that I was not invited. I asked my husband to promise to stay home with me and not go. He got defensive and said that this was his mom's wedding and there was no reason for him not to attend. I refused to speak to him after a big argument about it, and he eventually said that he'd stay home with me. However, at the day of the wedding, he said he was going to hang out with some friends. I was skeptical, so I called his friends and they said they didn't see him. You really doing the most. I knew where he was. I felt betrayed and I wanted to catch him red-handed, so I got dressed and went to his mom's wedding. He was actually there. I was fuming when I saw him. He saw me and started following me as I was turning and making my way out. I yelled at him, calling him a liar and a manipulator. Girl. He tried to get me to quiet down since people were staring, but I lost it on him and said that he betrayed the promise he made to me and his word meant shit to me. He got defensive, saying he really wanted to be there for his mom and at the same time couldn't handle me being upset with him and giving him silence, so he hid it from me. I told him to get out of my face and went home. He came back looking pissed, saying I made a scene at his mom's wedding and humiliated him when I started yelling at him. I refused to argue, but his family came at me, calling me horrible and controlling and saying that my husband is a saint for still enduring the shitty behavior of mine. I blocked his sister, who was constantly arguing, saying that my husband has free will and should be able to decide where to go and be without my consent. This made him get more pissed. We haven't talked since then. You're not only an asshole, you a bitch. Why would you?
They got kids? Did they mention kids?
Don't say. It doesn't say.
He need to get the fuck out while he alive. He need to get the fuck out now. Oh, goddamn, the unmitigated gall, the audacity. Wow. That is...
Ma'am.
Then she went to go play fucking detective to try to find out where this nigga at. Like, she treating him like a child and he acting like one.
Cause sneaking around, because there's no fucking way I would have ever agreed to that shit. Bitch, you just finna be mad. Because all of this started because you don't mind your fucking business. She decided to sell the family house, decided to give the older brother more money. Your husband, who is the person actually in the situation, was fine with this, was not upset about it, did not feel slighted, but you got an attitude about it and put yourself in a situation that didn't have nothing to do with you. Created a situation between you and the mother-in-law, and then really fucking thought that your husband was gonna choose you over his mother.
You know, that's one of the things about being a person that thinks about the future a lot and thinks about the outcomes of scenarios. I would have been like, look, you need to handle your little temper tantrum with my mama, because if this shit ever come between you and her, you're gonna lose.
Yes.
I'm gonna let you know, like, you're gonna lose because you're being unreasonable right now. Like, in a situation that ain't got shit, like, mama was right. This ain't got shit to do with you. And now the reality is, thinking about the psychology of these two individuals, that component of him acting like a son and her acting like a mama is probably his role in his relationship with his mama and his brother. Like, he probably was always going to be all right with whatever his mama did. Yeah, because that's just the nature of how he is. He might, and he could not be okay with it, you know, but his role is going to say, I'm okay with it. As a wife, you should accept that he's okay with it for whatever reason. On my side, yeah, he probably got some mama trauma shit going on, and they probably got some odd family dynamics going on.
But she ain't thinking about none of that. She just
her family dynamic growing up. I ain't no telling, man. A woman can end up being like this for so many different ways. Abuse, mama issues, daddy issues. It's a lot of different outcomes a lot of different issues that could have created this outcome. But, like, I just wish, I guess she don't believe that he would leave her. Like, if you acting this way, you either don't believe it'll happen or you don't care whether it happens or not. Because if somebody tell me my trust in you is shit, marriage don't mean nothing to me. Marriage is just something, in one event you said in front of a white man, but I don't think I'd ever get married in front of a white man. It'd have to be somebody black. So, as far as I'm concerned, it ain't shit but something I said in front of a black man, a pastor. And I don't even give a fuck about Christianity. So, I mean, I don't care about marriage enough. I'd be like, all right, let's get the paperwork started. Because I'm not going to be in no relationship that I'm not happy in. I'm not going to be in a relationship that I got to work just to be fucking baseline. Like, if a relationship get to that point for me, I'm out. I mean, I want you to be out. Like, I want my partner to have that same shit. Because I want to be held to the fire and held responsible and accountable for my actions. You know, I want to be actively trying to make this thing good. I don't want no situation where we don't put a ring on each other's finger and now we both don't believe in getting out of a relationship. So we know we're going to be together through all this bullshit anyway. No, I want to know that this shit can end. And I want to act like it. And if I want it to end, I guess I can act like shit. If she wanted it, I guess she can act like shit. You know, but I hope that we grown enough to say, nah, this ain't working.
Yeah.
And what he need to say is, all right, bitch, bye. I'm out. I'm done. What the fuck? They came in here and embarrassed me at my mama's wedding. She talking about getting embarrassed. You know, came in here and embarrassed me at my mama's wedding. You been having issues with my family and mama this whole time. You got me around here sneaking around, lying, saying I'm with my friends and shit. I ain't finna live like this. hopefully it's his house where he can be like, get your shit and go. Clearly, if not, then he can go to his mama
Oh,
house.
she'll gladly take him to get him away from that bitch.
I bet.
I'm sure she would she'll probably help him get a new place. You don't even gotta stay here. We'll get you a house. Leave that bitch. Sure.
Maybe
So-
give him some more money, goddamn.
Yep. Some of the comments. Wow, your mother-in-law sounds crazy. First, she decides on her own, without any input from you whatsoever, how she wants to divvy up her estate. Although both her heirs are fine with it, she didn't take your opinions into account. Next, she may have gotten upset when you started yelling at your husband at her wedding. Yeah, your mother-in-law is a whack job. Your mother-in-law. You're the asshole. Everybody basically, again, it's just the audacity. The audacity.
Hell no.
A lot of people talking about wills and how people have a right to do what they want to do with their fucking shit. There's, the way my personality is set up, I'm grown as fuck. We're both grown, okay? You're not going to tell me I can't go somewhere, especially to a family event, because you fucked it up. Now, it's different if it's really some fuck shit going on. My family has been rude. We've had letters before where people's families was out of line with their significant other, and so then that's a problem. But this ain't even that. You're involving yourself in shit that don't have nothing to do with you at all, and you created a rift in this family unit. You did all of this is you, bitch. All of this is you, and you writing into Reddit thinking that they were gonna like co-sign your bullshit. You finna be single, mama. I hope you got a job. Hope you can take care of yourself. Because one or two things, either he is gonna eventually get tired and leave, or you gonna come up missing. And he gonna snap one day. Because if it is true that this has been the dynamic in his life with his family of origin, and now you adding to that shit, and nobody ever listens to him, and everybody always like questions, like, he gonna snap. It's not gonna be pretty. You may not die, but you ain't gonna like it. Like, girl, yeah, you're the asshole. I don't, like you said, I don't know that there was a way for her to not be the asshole given the title of this, and she came right on through. She's an asshole, a terrible one, and just an awful person in general. Like, imagine being friends with somebody like that. She probably one of them friends that like get mad if her friends don't do what the advice that she gives them. Like, bitch, I'm grown. I'm gonna do what the fuck I want to do. You can't tell me what to do. You ain't my mama. I don't even listen to her all the time. And you ain't nobody to me. You're expendable. Do you know that? You can go. You can fucking go.
It'll be, I feel like I had this dream. I hadn't had it in a long time, but I had this dream where I could trade places with people, right? Like I could send my soul into a person and then I could just like be them for a little while.
You've been watching Little Demon too much.
Little Demon? What is that?
That show you sent me.
I never watched that.
How you gonna send me a show you never watched?
I feel like it fit you way more than it fit me. That's why I don't consume the stuff I said. I had no idea what the show was about. When I just saw the trailer and was like, this is just some Jennifer ass shit right here. Wow. Daddy issues.
Well, she could do that. Like one of her powers from her father being Satan was that she could put her soul into other people. So like it would leave her body empty, vacant. So she would just be like kind of passed out somewhere, and she could enter somebody else and like make them do shit. And she started doing that shit a lot.
I used to imagine that. So I was having that thought in this moment. Like I wish I could put my essence into people having these issues and sell it as a service. But then I was thinking, what if you could sell not giving a fuck in a bottle? Like, what if you could sell boundaries in a bottle? Like, what if you could just like, I don't know what to do in this situation. Let me drink these boundaries. And he'd be like, listen, bitch, my mama is my mama, okay? She been there for me my whole life, and you put me in a situation where I'm feeling like I got to choose between one of y'all, and you're going to lose. So you need to motherfucking adjust your attitude, get your shit together, and then we can move forward in this relationship. Otherwise, start packing your shit up and finding some alternate living situations because we ain't finna be here for that much longer.
The creator of that drink will be murdered. And the factories where it was created will be burned down by the people that don't want nobody to have boundaries with them. Like, that shit would be very short-lived. Can you imagine all of the politicians and shit? Like, it would be so much uproar. That person would not be long for this world. Whoever came up with that, they get murdered. Anybody finna be, finna be, people gonna tell me no when they drink this shit? He gotta go. She gotta go. They will murder them. And burn the factory down. And burn the recipe or whatever it was. Like, that shit, they would not be long for this world.
My boundaries.
Too many people with boundary issues. They get upset about that shit.
My boundaries. Yeah.
So.
You are the asshole. Definitely no way out of it. That's what it is.
Yep.
All right. I got a bunch of them sitting up here.
Okay.
All right. Hold on. Is it wrong that my husband's sexual interest bothers me? I just found out my boyfriend groomed me. My husband blamed his cheating on me because of my underwear. This is under dating advice. She has OnlyFans. Am I the asshole turning around in my car when I saw that my boyfriend brought his friends with him to go on a trip with us? And am I the asshole for firing an employee returning from maternity leave?
I want to know what somebody's goddamn underwear got to do with you cheating.
All right.
What?
Let's see. We, a 35-year-old female and 36-year-old male, have been married for a little under 2 months. Together for 4 years. I love him, parentheses, loved him very much, and I thought he loved me too. Besides the usual quarrel and disagreements about dull and mundane tasks, we're good. He never complained about anything. Never. Our sex life was amazing, and he told me so very often. He even texted me when we were at work, all kind of NSFW stuff that made me blush in my office. Friday, I had only one morning meeting. Me and my colleagues went for lunch and afterwards, and then we decided to go home. We checked on with our supervisor, and she said it was fine. I found out my husband was with another woman in our bed. I started running away in shock, and he couldn't really leave the apartment before putting his clothes on. Enough time for me to take the elevator alone. He's been calling and texting me all weekend. I met my brothers. My brother and sister-in-law don't know the details, just that my husband was cheating. This morning, my husband came knocking. He begged an audience and asked my brother to let him speak to me. My brother asked me if I wanted him to kick my husband out, but I told him that now I wasn't in total shock anymore. Maybe I should just hear him out. My brother, sister-in-law, and baby nephew left for a brunch. My husband looked like he'd been crying the whole weekend and just wanted to hug me. I told him to stay on his side of the kitchen island and don't come near or I would scream. He started first with a half apology and later explained why he was cheating on me. I never made the effort for him. I was always wearing comfortable underwear and never the sexy type. That's a turnoff for him. He felt like I really didn't care. I was stunned and didn't understand what he meant. Why didn't you tell me this? Why not try to buy sexy lingerie like men did for their wives? He said he didn't want to offend me by suggesting that my underwear were dull and a turnoff. So it was basically my fault that you cheated. He didn't say no, just looked at me crying his eyes out. I tried to remember what the girl was wearing. I couldn't remember because my eyes went blurry the second I saw them. He asked me what I wanted to do that we could fix this. He asked me if I wanted to know more about the woman in my bed. She meant nothing. I interrupted him immediately and told him that I was good. Then to get him out, I told him I needed time to think, even though I already made up my mind. I just didn't want to stay longer to try to talk and argue and cry more. He's left now. I don't know what to feel. I never knew underwear was this big of a deal in a relationship. I love cotton neutral colors, mostly CK basic. I have a very large chest, and honestly, any sexy bra is just a pain in the ass having on a whole day. Always trying to adjust my boobs in the cup Big-breasted girls will recognize my issue dealing with all the unsolicited glare from guys and even girls when wearing underwear that shows the shape. Plus, I don't feel unsexy in my comfortable undies at all. Not once. I love my body. I work out 5 to 2 hours a day, and I'm very confident in my own skin. And how could he say that he wasn't satisfied with our sex life when we're intimate at least 4 times a week? Was it all a lie when he said I drove him crazy and how I could turn out in 1 week with him? I would never understand me. He gave me a false sense of confidence. And why did I catch them now? Couldn't I do it 2 months ago? Now I need to find lawyers and start a fucking process that'll take 2 years of my life at least. Fuck you, Kay. Really fucking fuck you. I hope you get fucked by karma wearing sexy red lace G-string.
Girl, first of all, every time I hear these stories, I'm like, the universe, God, whatever you believe in, knows to not put me in these situations. Because I'm always hearing or seeing people like, I'm not running out of my goddamn house. You think I'm finna run out of here and leave when I find you in this shit? You and that bitch finna get out. I'm not leaving the goddamn place. Anyway, that's not even what this is about. Let me not get upset about the things that don't matter. Oh my God, that's the best you could come up with, sir? Her underwear wasn't sexy? And the part about, well, I didn't want to offend you by like telling you that I didn't like your underwear. Cause like fucking a bitch in our bed's not offensive at all. Great choice there, bro. Like that was so much better than you coming to me and saying, I'd like to see you in lingerie. That's so much more offensive than finding you fucking a bitch in my bed. He's insane. He cheated because that's what the fuck he wanted to do. That's just what it is. Like, this is the same, Nia Long got cheated on here recently, and people were like, I can't believe if Nia Long. What y'all gotta understand is that is not what cheating is about. Like, it ain't got shit to do. You can have the finest bitch or the finest nigga in the world. They can get cheated on because cheating is not about whether or not somebody's attractive. I don't know where y'all get that from. Like, every time some famous good-looking person gets cheated, well, if they got cheated on, then yes. You are equally as equally as possible for you to get cheated on, because cheating ain't got shit to do with that. It's only been 2 months. I don't know what the rules of annulment are. I feel like this will be within that realm, maybe, with it only being 2 months. It's not. What do you have to do to get an annulment?
It's got to be something that you're not offering that should be offered in the marriage. It's like if they had not had sex for 2 months, then they can get it annulled.
That's so archaic.
It's
if you
very
consummated the relation. That's some bullshit. Anyway.
Yeah, annulment is for stuff that you would have expected to get from the marriage that you didn't get, and before you get it, you go talk to the judge about it, and then you can get it annulled. But it can't be that the relationship been going fine for 2 months and then somebody fuck up.
But it ain't been going fine. She just didn't know about it. She just found out that it hasn't been
perceptually
going fine.
It's been going fine. Like it's been going fine systemically. Personally, ain't don't be counted in that.
That's
like it looked like it was going.
If somebody gets caught in infidelity within the first 6 months of a relationship, you should be able to just annul that shit. Because, bro, like, really? And he been doing this shit. You just not caught him. That's all that is. And people who be like bringing folks into their marital home, the level of disrespect. I sleep in that fucking bed and niggas ain't washing sheets. So I done came home and hopped in the bed that you was fucking somebody in not knowing. Because I know you ain't washed no sheet. Like, it's a whole nother level of this. You didn't go to her. You didn't take her somewhere. You came into the house that you share with me. That is such another level of disrespect.
You know what? In an annulment, it actually says impotency. It don't even say like choosing not to have sex. It's look, if one partner is unable to engage in sexual relations, you can annul the marriage. Although the impotency must have generally been unknown beforehand and require a medical diagnosis.
Why is it sex-based?
It's several more reasons. You got incest. You got one or both spouses were underage. You got the marriage was bigamous. You got impotence, then lack of consent, mental illness, and mistaken belief of pregnancy. So if the marriage took place because the wife was mistakenly believed to be pregnant with her spouse's child, the relationship can be annulled. So
So stupid.
If somebody be like, I'm pregnant, we should get married. They get married, and the person not pregnant, you can get in a no. Mental illness. If one spouse has a serious or debilitating mental illness that was not revealed before the marriage took place, the other spouse will request the marriage be voided. That's an interesting one. Like if somebody stopped taking their medication after you married and they have an episode, you can get your marriage annulled for that.
Oh, what if they didn't even know it? I mean, shit triggers stuff all the time. So,
well, it has to be known. It seems like it has to have.
like the other person,
it couldn't have been revealed before the marriage took place. Like if somebody told you, "Listen, I got schizophrenia," and then the episode happened after marriage, you can't do nothing. But if they never said nothing about it and it was maintained before the marriage, it sounds like it can be annulled.
That is. Anyway,
that was from North Carolina, by the way. So it just could. I wonder what the Alabama annulment rules are. I bet this shit. Wow. I was trying to see her face.
Fucking trash. Because it's Alabama. It's probably because incest probably ain't even in there for Alabama, and I'm not even trying to be funny.
Oh yeah, you're probably right.
That's probably not even one of the criteria. Oh, good old Dixieland.
Other examples of marriages that can normally be annulled: underage spouse, marriages where one spouse has concealed a sexually transmitted disease, marriage where one spouse has been forced through duress. This is not an exhaustive list. It ain't no easy list to find, like a North Carolina one. Let's see, fraudulent, no, incestuous marriage is in there.
Shocking.
You can have incestuous relationships, but not incestuous marriages. You better stay boyfriend and girlfriend. Boy cousin and girl cousin.
What about somewhere that's more like California, that's more
I was thinking
liberal? Blood relation, bigamy, underage, fraud. What is fraud?
Grounds for requesting an annulment in California. The couple is related by blood. One spouse was already married before entering the marriage. The person requesting the annulment was not 18 years old at the time of the marriage. Either spouse perpetrated a fraud to obtain the other person's consent to marriage.
Could that
fraud? It says the fraud has to go to the heart or essence of the marriage. A good example would be when one spouse persuades the other to marry because of a secret desire to remain in the United States. I don't know if that couldn't be the case. Nah. One of the spouses has an incurable physical incapacity. This typically refers to male impotence that prevents the couple from having sexual relations. One or both spouses of unsound mind, meaning a mental health condition that prevents them from understanding and appreciating the natures and duties of marriage, including severe intoxication. So alcoholism. One spouse has forced the other to get married. Damn. All of this is the essence of an annulment for me has always been that it got to have something to do with the essence of the duties of marriage and the responsibility of marriage and the ability to carry out what a marriage is supposed to carry out. Otherwise, you fucked up and you got to pay.
That's such bullshit. I still feel that infidelity should go. If infidelity could be used for like prenups and a violation of a prenup, I feel like you should be able to get an annulment based on it.
Nah.
It's crazy. Anyway, girl,
a lot of motherfuckers be getting annulments, man. It'll be more motherfuckers in the courts getting annulments than goddamn divorces. Cause motherfuckers be cheating before they get married.
Just because the court will have to work hard, I don't feel like that mean they shouldn't do shit. Like, and I say like within 6 months, not just you've been married forever and he cheat, but I think there could be a time frame within the beginning of the marriage where if you catch a motherfucker cheat, I say 6 months. I feel like if you within 6 months you committing infidelity already, that person should be able to get an annulment. I don't think it should just be annullable all for the duration of the marriage, but within the first 6 months, you should be able to know that shit.
So first off, this dude is stupid. Number one, cheating in the bed, and this is the best excuse you can come up with, bro.
Your underwear.
This is the best excuse.
And I didn't want to hurt your feelings.
Like, I'd never do this or never be in this situation. And I don't even think I'd be with a woman who would just run out the motherfucker. I think I'd probably be with a woman who would goddamn go and get a cast iron skillet out the kitchen. And if she finna hit somebody in their fucking head. But
Like, I'm not leaving my shit. What I look like? I'm running out of here. Fuck you and that bitch. Both of y'all can get out.
But I never been in this situation. But like, what kind of lie would I mean, like this woman was selling Bibles, selling vacuums. She came to the house, and I let her in to, sell the vacuum, give her a little pitch and stuff. And she came on to me super duper heavy. I don't know. Look, ain't no lie, man. Ain't no lie. And none of this shit should be believed. Like, it don't matter. It don't matter. It don't matter what the excuse is. And, it's a dialogue going on TikTok where it's like a lot of men are talking about cheating and side pieces and infidelity as if it's okay. And the real answer to the question is, because one of my mutuals, he putting out videos talking about what women need to do to keep their men happy so that they don't cheat. And I'm like, I feel like you can't have that conversation without condemning men that cheat first. It's like, listen, don't cheat, men, in so many words. But women, these are some things you need to do if you want the best hopes of your person not cheating. But the reality is, I think that if you would cheat, it's always a risk that you're going to cheat. If you would cheat, it's always a risk that you're going to cheat. And if you're on the edge of not cheating based on some shit of what your partner doing, you don't need to be in no relationship.
No, you absolutely.
Like, you really don't need to be in no relationship. Like
I said.
But I think that it's a measure of your integrity. It's a measure of your morals and your ethical grounding if you cheat. Like, ain't nothing, no excuse should be the thing that kept you from cheating. The only excuse is that you didn't have the fucking willpower, you didn't have the self-control, and you didn't have the desire to put the work and energy into your relationship. You just planned on taking it somewhere else. For anybody who cheat, that's what that is.
So it don't matter how pretty or handsome you are. Your physical appearance has nothing to do with whether or not your partner gonna cheat on you. At all. And again, that is why I don't understand why people be so shocked when the Nia Longs or the Beyoncés or the Halle Berrys or it. Like, what you mean? That has nothing to do with it. And usually when you find out the person that the person was cheating with, usually we don't even think that they're at the same level of attractiveness, but that's not what it's about anyway. So that it doesn't play a factor. I really wish people would stop that narrative and stop being shocked by that shit. Like, it don't matter. If you were a nigga that's gonna cheat, if you were a bitch that's gonna cheat, they gonna cheat. It don't matter what you look like. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Get your divorce, ma'am. Like, whatever you need to do, divorce that motherfucker. Because not only did he betray you, but he couldn't even take responsibility for the shit and tried to blame you for what he did. And the blaming you was, I didn't like your underwear. It's so stupid. Like, and he said that and thought that this is going to be, like, she's going to forgive me.
He said that shit with a straight face and then said, we can work through this. Like, it's so many, like, there are so many steps between this and that. Like, he could have threw all her underwear in the trash and burned it up set it on fire and said, hey, let's go underwear shopping for you. You know what I'm saying? He could have said, this woman broke in and stole all your drawers. We need to go and get some more drawers. You know, he didn't give her a chance to communicate. Let's say that was really, really the answer. Let's say that really, really was the issue. And let's talk about all of the pitfalls that he made in this situation. First, he noticed that he didn't like the drawers. And he didn't tell her that he didn't like the drawers. And
for 4 years.
For 4 years.
4 years.
He sat there and not liked the drawers for long enough and didn't communicate it enough to go seek a communication with somebody else who I presumably wear drawers that he like. And, that could have started off with oh no, I had this meeting with this woman who's wears sexy underwear. I should not do this. I'm in a marriage. And then that turned into, oh no, I'm having physical contact, whether it's a hug or a kiss with this person who has you know, the underwear that I like. Instead of communicating to his woman, I think that I'm going too far now. Like
How do
he
you
could
know
have
what kind
stopped.
of underwear somebody has on
I'm imagining that
without seeing
he.
it?
I'm imagining that he got pictures, sexy pictures from the person. I'm
But like
assuming
that's
he.
what I'm saying. To even get to that point to determine that because she wears sexy underwear, so you want to engage with her. How you know that?
Well, you know how
How you pick
motherfuckers be
her?
answering questions. What you got on? You know what I'm saying?
No,
I'm sure
I'm
he.
saying for them to even start their interaction in the beginning, what made him choose her? If it's all about underwear,
I
why?
don't think he chose her. I think he chose somebody who said that they got some sexy red lace on
But
when
how do
he
you?
asked what you got on.
But why are you even asking her what you got on?
That's what I'm saying. The draws was a problem. So he started seeking somebody else to engage with. I'm just saying, like at the point where the draws is a problem, and you get, you know, and so from there, it actually got up to the point where he invited this person to his house, and he didn't communicate this to his partner at any point, you know, which at least they give you something to stand on if you tell your partner, well, never give you anything to stand on as far as cheating. But if you tell your partner, look, I've talked about your draws several times and you didn't change it, you know, maybe she would feel like it was her draws because now she asking because it's some bullshit out of the blue. It's some out of the blue bullshit.
It's some
Like,
made up shit. That's what that is. That's the best because he didn't have a valid reason. Okay. That's the best he could come up with. It's not that because y'all having sex 4 times a week. It's not that we don't have sex enough. It's not that, you aren't affectionate enough for me. He literally had nothing. This is what grasping for straws look like. And the fact that this was the best you could come up with means that lady, she is perfectly fine. There is nothing wrong with her. This the only thing you could come up with? I don't like your underwear. Bitch. Jesus. It's too much. It's too much.
I look, I don't give a pass for infidelity, and I don't even fault the cheatee. Like to me, that there is nothing that the person that got cheated on could have done to justify your cheating. There are a lot of things that they can do justify sparking a conversation about your actions in this relationship, and there's a lot of shit they can do that can spark you leaving that relationship. But in my eyes, it ain't shit that they can do that sparks you going to seek that from another person without um having that conversation and without putting the energy and the work into fixing whatever it is that you feel like you're seeking refuge from. And there are situations where I think cheating happens organically without it being intentional. And I guess that's the most forgivable cheating piece, I guess, if one would be. Where it's maybe like I get some long-term friends or at a game night or something, have some drinks and they just chilling and it turned into something physical. I mean, I don't really care about any cheating, but if I'm gonna look at cheating and assess it, it'll be some shit that happened organically, not like some shit where you done goddamn made plans, done invited somebody to our house, done knew I was at work, like methodical with it or something like that. But I don't know. It's cheating is a reason for you to say, okay, I'm out. Or things that people do that you would cheat on them for is a reason to be I'm out. If you have this inkling in your mind that says, man, I'm gonna go find me somebody else to talk to, that's the moment you need to be having a conversation with that person or fucking leaving. Not just cheating and then coming up with excuses afterwards.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Very much so.
But anyway. Am I the asshole for sending my son to school with less food and explicitly telling him not to share with his best friend? My immediate response is yes.
Okay.
Like, the situation began a year ago and blew up in our faces last week. My son Gregory is 13 years old. He just began the 8th grade. His friend Peter is also 13 and began the 8th grade too. Gregory and Peter have been friends since elementary school. Last year, I noticed that Gregory would be ravenously hungry after school every day. He would come home and eat a frozen dinner or something, and then help himself to seconds at dinner time. I chalked this up to him being a 12-year-old boy and let it be. Something about the situation was nagging at me, though, and while Gregory wasn't clear about why at first, he eventually came clean. Peter was being sent to school every day with no lunch. It looks to me like the typical case of neglectful and unfit parents. The one time that Gregory went to their house, he came home with comments about it smelling really bad and Peter's parents locking themselves in the garage for hours. Feeling bad for Peter, I decided to discreetly begin giving Gregory more food every day, just about doubling all his food. Over time, I became less discreet and began packing a separate lunch for Peter. I was never thanked for this by anyone, but I knew Peter was eating the food I sent. This year, things are different. Money is tighter for personal reasons, and frankly, with how expensive things are, I have decided not to spend exorbitant amounts of money supporting someone else's child. I sat Gregory down and told him that I would be packing him one lunch, which is for him and him alone. I made it extremely clear, do not share with anyone, and this includes Peter. Gregory followed my instructions until one day last week, I got a phone call from Peter's mother. She was livid that I had cut Peter off without a single word. I asked her when it became my responsibility to feed her son, and she responded that if she had known I wasn't sending Gregory to school with too much food, she would have handled it herself. I asked her if she remembered why I began sending him to school with the 2 lunches in the first place, and she hung up on me. I feel conflicted. I know I'm having my kindness thrown back in my face, but did I approach this situation incorrectly? Oh, I mean, I've changed my mind.
I think he handled it incorrectly.
Oh.
I think that it was a really, really big shift from the lesson that he was teaching his son through helping out his friend, and then going to absolutely don't be sharing food. Like, that's a big jump, because if I was Peter, I'd probably give Gregory my food, knowing that he ain't got it, and knowing that I can come home and just eat later myself.
That's what he was doing. That's how this started, because that's what he was doing. And so then
no, but what I'm saying is his parent told him no longer do that. Like, this thing you were doing out of the kindness of your heart, which was sharing with your friend, not only am I finna stop giving extra food for you to take to your friend, but you can't even share your food with your friend now. That's fucked up to me. Because I'm still gonna share food with my friend if my friend hungry. I don't think that I don't like that.
But given how his mother responded to it.
But the mama didn't talk. I mean, what is he asking if he's an asshole for?
For not sending food to school for the kid anymore?
No, he decided all of that before the mama talked to him. The mama talking to him, I mean, may justify the reason that he didn't do it, and he ain't wrong in the sense that it ain't his responsibility to feed somebody else's kid. But like, it's other things that she could have done for this. This kid, I mean, he's talked about shit that we would have to mandatorily report this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Stinking, no food, parents locking themselves away for hours. No, this is some, you need to go to the people shit. You know, so if you ain't gonna go to the people, I think it's bullshit that you stop giving this child a resource that they need and then telling your son that you also can't help your friend with this resource. It's fucked up, because the message he been teaching his son is when people are in need, then go ahead.
But now,
say what?
Why do you think it's a man?
Or woman? I don't know. For some reason,
don't usually pack lunches unless they're single fathers.
It don't matter. Same. It don't matter. The same applies. A parent who is responsible enough to pack their child's food. I don't know why I thought it was a man. But either way, yes, it's fucked up. I think that they should have done some different shit, because they just saying, okay, just throw Gregory back out to the wolves now. I don't like that. It's no solution for Gregory. Gregory is getting even less than what Gregory was getting before mama got involved now because of mama or daddy.
So do you think that they should report? What do you think that they should do or should have done?
I would have reported their ass on the jump. Gregory coming over my house stinking and eating a bunch of food.
I don't know. I think we think of that because we legally are mandatory reporters in our profession, but I don't think the average person
I would have. This is what I would have
do
done.
that.
I would have had a conversation with my child and asked them would they be okay with having lower quality lunches in order to help Gregory have a lunch, because things again tight money wise. I don't want to take this stuff from Gregory, but your lunch is gonna have, like, everybody got to sacrifice. We gonna still sacrifice some money that we might be squeezing to get. You're gonna have to sacrifice your lunch, and that'll be to continue to help Gregory eat. Otherwise the option will have to be that you're gonna have to be very discerning with what you share with Gregory. And one, let my child make that decision if they want to make that decision. I wouldn't force them to just cut that off, because what it looked like now, your friend Gregory come here and you eating and you telling him, like me, I would never stop giving my friend that shit. I would just be doing it behind my parent back now.
That's probably what the kid's doing. The comments are nobody thinks that they're an asshole for not continuing to feed the child. They're saying it's because you didn't report what is neglect.
Yeah,
behavior.
I would have reported that. I would have reported that shit. I would have reported it as, because at the very beginning she said it seems like a case of neglect, and then proceeded to have her own solutions. Like, again, you right. In being in the profession, my profession is the odds are if he's in this level of neglect, he probably dealing with some abuse. He probably dealing with verbal, mental, physical abuse. He dealing with a lot of shit. If this is how, like, it's like you ain't great parents and then you ain't giving your child food. Like, bad parents, if nothing else, can make sure their children is eating. You know what I'm saying? Bad parents, if nothing else, can make sure their child is clean. Like, parents who know they bad specifically, they know how to make the world think that their kids ain't got no problems outside of their kids telling them. If you at the point where your child ain't eating and they smell bad, the level of neglect there means it's other bullshit going on. You're not focused on your child. And frankly, the people you deserve to be called, you deserve for the people to be called on you. So I would have called the people straight up. Yeah, as a therapist, for real, yeah. But I feel like reasonable parents who understand what neglect and abuse look like would call the people.
I don't know. People don't be liking to get involved in this shit. I don't know. I don't know that the average parent would.
But I think the average parent would not get involved to the point of fixing that kid lunches either. It's like you need to be all in or all out, man. Don't be fucking hokey pokey with a motherfucking safety and hunger and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're gonna be out, be out. Be like, look, I'll stack you a little bit more lunch, son. Some days you ain't gonna have as much. I guess you got to discern what you're gonna do with your food, because you probably gonna be giving it to him anyway. It is what it is, but we not getting involved in that. But if you're going to fully, wholeheartedly take on this child's neglect yourself without calling the people, you can't just motherfucking just snatch that shit away from a motherfucker. In my mind,
It
I
would have
don't
been
think you
better for
should.
her to just have told the kid in the beginning, don't share nothing with Peter, and not sent an extra lunch.
If you could look into a crystal ball and see that your money was gonna get tight enough where you can't, yes, you should have did that shit. Should have did that shit. It's just one of them situations where when you pigeonhole yourself into somebody expecting something from you, and it's a child, and you're not willing to go to the systems that's supposed to deal with this issue, then you should keep doing it. Otherwise, you never should have did it. I really don't care whether you can foresee it or not. Now, if this was your friend next door and they grown as hell and you helping them out for a time, now fuck them. But not only is this a child that you have determined has been neglected, it's also your fucking child's best friend. If it ain't nobody else that you gonna help in their life, it should be your child's best friend. Because your child is going to pick up where you are. Because again, I do believe that their heart is in the right place. But to me, that means that their child's heart is in even a more extreme place than what theirs is. So I don't even think that their child would be able to adopt the idea that I ain't finna give my friend nothing. They done spent a whole school year sharing with them and seeing you fixing them lunch, putting your energy into it. Your child is not finna fucking stop giving that boy food. And what you finna do is you finna deprive your child now of food because they gonna keep being who they is. They not finna sit there and tell their best friend, no, I ain't finna give you nothing. So yeah, to me, I do think that she an asshole. But again, I do get the fact that you can't everybody don't like those systems of reporting and stuff. But if you're not gonna report, if you're not gonna save the kid, you can't just throw the kid back out into the deep end again. That's fucked up to me.
Yeah, the reporting it wasn't gonna necessarily.
It don't guarantee the solution.
No, because they could go out, parents find or give the parents chance to pick. Like we know how that system works, so it ain't like if she reported it, they were immediately gonna remove Peter to like a better home where he was getting fed. You know, depending on how bad the home actually is, nothing might not have happened. Somebody said they think that they cooking meth since they in the garage all the time.
Probably, maybe.
I mean, I wouldn't.
But I feel like if they in a community in which parents would cook meth, I feel like that they should probably be going to a public school in which the school feed the kids. Like,
don't you have to pay for? I don't know how school lunch works now because I don't got no kids.
They still got free lunch.
Do they still?
Free lunch still exists? Yeah. Yeah. Especially since this Michelle Obama food downgrade shit started happening.
Is that still going on with them not being in office anymore?
I don't know. I think it's just depending upon the school system.
Because wait, that doesn't make sense. Why would the kid not have food if they're going to a school where food is served?
That's why at the beginning I was thinking that they must be some people with resources, and these parents got resources but are neglectful. But if you downgrade to parents cooking meth, then they don't have resources, which means I assume they live in a community in which lunch is free for people who can't afford it. And not only that, why teachers ain't recognizing this pattern with this child?
All schools do not do free lunches.
I know all schools don't do free lunches. But
there was a universal free lunch program during COVID, but that ended. Because I feel like this has been a talking point in some of this political shit recently that some of these politicians vote against having free lunch programs in their school systems and districts. Like I know free lunch was a thing when we were in school, but I don't know what it's like now.
So free lunch has never been available for all students. Free lunch is income based. Like even when free lunch is offered, it's income based. Me and my brother got free lunch when my mama was single. Yeah. When my mama got married, we had to pay for reduced lunch. Mm-hmm. So yeah, during COVID, free lunch was for all kids. It is no longer for all kids, but free lunch is still offered for kids who qualify for free lunch in the US.
Is that everywhere?
It's supposed to be.
I don't know.
The only thing I'm seeing is all related to COVID.
Yeah.
So I don't know how deep I have to get down to go see what the standards were for free lunch. Because from my understanding, free lunch offerings is income based. Like again, there are legitimately families that can't pay for lunches.
I know that's how, I mean, it's always been where it was income based. It was income based when we were in school.
But what we're saying is at a certain point, kids who didn't have the money just never ate. That's not the case. Everybody's still eating lunch. There's no kids that are sitting out from eating, even if they don't bring money. But I'll tell you this, one thing that families have been dealing with in some schools where the kids eat, but they accumulate a tab at the school and they send that to the families at the end of the year. Now, some schools were doing that, but they didn't stop the kids from eating. They just gave these parents these high-ass bills at the end of the school year.
But what happens if the parent don't pay the bill?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's just a scare tactic. Some bullshit to make the parents that are conscious of making sure their debts are paid would pay it off. Maybe. But I'm not inclined to believe that. Like, me and my brother wouldn't have been able to eat lunch in school if that had been the case.
Like that was not 20 years ago, over 20 years ago.
That ain't even a long time ago for a program in which society ain't changed enough to where people would have income now for it. It's shit done got worse.
It has, but there are many things that have changed and many things that have been removed when people needed them that people have been upset about. So it's not like they haven't removed other things, even though things are worse. I don't know. Because if everybody has it dependent upon household income, I don't know why this would be talking points, or why people would be saying like, you don't care about kids if you couldn't. I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me.
What you mean?
Like I said, it's free lunch. Providing lunches for kids has been talking points in a lot of these like political debates, and removing these programs that help kids have access to lunches. So
that's what I'm saying. In one scenario, to me, the parents had the income that wouldn't qualify a kid for free lunch anyway. In the other scenario, because they cook meth, maybe their income ain't that, and they would qualify for free lunch. I'm just discerning the two. I guess what it is that they don't qualify for free lunch for some reason, and the parents are suck, so they're not giving them money to buy lunch. So it's very possible for him to be in a scenario where a school would offer free lunches, but the kid can't pay for it.
But if it's free lunch, you don't pay for it. What you mean?
No. When it's free lunch, you do pay for it. If you are a kid, everybody got a lunch card.
How is it free if you're paying?
I don't think you understand what I'm saying. The free is only for if you are a kid that qualified for free lunch. If you didn't qualify for free lunch, you don't get lunch if you don't pay for it.
Okay, so then you said there is an instance in which he could qualify for free lunch but not have the money to pay.
No, I said this. I don't. Regardless of what I said, what I meant is there is a scenario in which he qualified for free lunch.
Okay.
And the only and I'm thinking family wise. I'm saying at first during the whole story, I'm thinking that they live in a community and go to a school where he don't qualify for free lunch regardless, which is why the only thing that makes sense of why he wouldn't be able to eat. Mm-hmm. They qualify for free lunch. I mean, he don't qualify for free lunch, and his family ain't giving him money. The family circumstances that would qualify him for free lunch is his parents not having money, hence they resort to cooking meth. Mm-hmm. Into which I was asking the question, why wouldn't he be eating at school if free lunch was available? Which I was asking that question. Like, why ain't he eating lunch at school if that's the case? Like, all we know is he coming to school and he ain't eating nothing at school, and his friend got to bring him a lunch. Mm-hmm. So what's going on at school where he ain't getting no food offerings at school? Again, I was listening to the story from the jump as if his parents had the money but just was neglectful. You know, but these kind of parents also probably wouldn't fill out the paperwork to send to the school to say that my child should have free lunch if free lunch was still offered. Yeah. You know, but that's still fucked up. You know, it's still fucked up to me that a kid that go to school and swipe a lunch card and it say, no, you owe money, you can't eat because you owe money. Then, because the days that I didn't have, when my mama got married, the days that I didn't have lunch was only 40 cents for me. But the days that I forgot to bring quarters home to school or I just didn't have no money, I couldn't eat. Yeah. It's that simple. You swipe your card, it say you owe money. If you don't pay them that money, you're not gonna eat. So, and a lot of the time, I mean, I could have, my grandparents could have paid for that shit. My grandparents had enough Social Security coming in. They could have just paid that shit for the whole year for me. But like, it was one of them things where like, I didn't know to be communicating this to people. I didn't know like why I got to get up in the morning and come ask this grown person for 40 cents for me to eat for lunch. You know what I'm saying? It just was this whole, I didn't want to be having to do that. I was in high school. I didn't want to have to be doing that shit. But that's, I would have called the fucking people and let the people deal with it. If the people didn't deal with it, then after that phone call, I would have went straight to her fucking house.
To the parent?
Hell yeah.
And did what?
After they just called me and asking me why I cut their son off from food. I'll be like, we can talk about it in person if you have an opportunity to meet. Get up in that bitch and throw hands. Fuck you mean? You ain't gonna call me with that level of disrespect. If you ain't calling me saying I really appreciate, like, first off, Little motherfucking Gregory was going home saying, Peter, mama been fixing me food. And then that parent had to say, good, because we tired of goddamn trying to take care of you and shit, which they have been doing. And then when Gregory came home and was like, Mama, I'm hungry. And mama said, what, Peter, mama ain't fixing you food no more? No, they ain't bringing me food no more. What is their phone number? What is their phone number? Like the steps that they had to go through to be okay with what I'm doing and the amount they had to involve Gregory in telling them what's going on to call me with the audacity of being upset that that's fighting words to me. I mean, it might not be fighting words, but it's a fighting circumstance. It's implicit disrespect.
You gonna go to jail behind
Go to jail?
Yes.
No, I ain't going to jail.
How you not?
I'm gonna lie. I'm gonna lie. I'm gonna tell them they cooking meth in their garage. I'm gonna tell them they don't got no food in their refrigerator because they child always come to school and come to my house hungry.
None of that is gonna change your assault charge.
What? The child has been saying that they've been abusing him.
None of that.
Police gonna go straight in that. Look, when the police go in that house and find out that they in some fucked up situation, I'm a hero. I'm not going to jail for that.
No, black ass, you really think that they not gonna come?
Oh, whoa, no. This isn't a community where all the people look like me. If the people don't, if I'm the only person in this community, I ain't doing none of that shit. Matter of fact, we ain't fixing Gregory no food. They white. They white. They don't need nigga help. They is not getting colored help over here. Look, you can have white friends, but white friends ain't getting no colored only lunches. That's just not gonna happen over here. They white. They got a rich ass uncle, a rich grandparent. Somebody gonna lead them in an endowment, inheritance, and all that shit. We ain't got none of that. We ain't fixing lunches.
You not meth cookers. Meth cookers ain't got none of that shit. These the poor white people.
I'm not. Well, I wouldn't live in that community. I wouldn't be living in no community where some motherfuckers down the street cooking meth unless they on some Walter White shit. Like they gotta be on some Breaking Bad shit. They gotta be on some. I thought I was finna die. I'm a very successful person, and now I'm living out my drug dealing dreams in my successful life. Not successful life, but life that I chose where I have a fucking career. I'm not finna live in no community where niggas don't got no jobs and just cook meth in the garage all day with their child in the house. Like, if I'm living in that community, shit going real bad for me. And I don't got money to give motherfucking my child friends no goddamn extra lunches. I'm not living in that community. I'm only living in a community where it's middle class black folks, to where I'm helping my friends, black friends, or I'm in a community where I done leveled up and it's only me and my kids and a bunch of white people, but they ain't getting no help. I ain't calling CPS on them. I ain't doing nothing. I'm doing nothing. That's white problems. I ain't finna get myself caught up in white problems.
Oh God.
That's not good. So yeah, no. When you say my black ass, yeah. If the scenario is my black ass going to somebody's house, I ain't going to nobody's house. I'm only going to black folk house.
I mean, I'm not trying to be racist. How often do black people get caught cooking meth?
Black folks don't cook no damn meth.
That's what I'm saying. These gotta be white folk. This would never.
Oh, they absolutely white folks. I knew that when the motherfucker's name was Peter and Gregory. These fairy tale character names. Like if it was Peter and fucking Lorenzo, then goddamn it'll be different. But it's Peter and Gregory.
Well,
these are the traditional white names.
Do I know a black?
Now,
I think I know.
Now, don't get me wrong. If his name was Greg, he might have been black. He might have been black if he was Greg. But when you say Gregory, no, that's not a nigga. Gregory and Peter together are white. Gregory by himself might be black. Peter by himself is definitely white. But them two together, white boys.
Oh.
Hold on.
Hold
on. Newsflash. We got a email just now, 1 minute ago, from Leroy Ketchum.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Why you say that?
Cause it's finna be some bullshit. But go ahead. Go on.
The name of the email is "This Bit Long and Hard."
Okay.
I'm finna start reading it. I'm trying to figure out what the hell this is. It said, "Walaikum salam, con artist."
Oh,
That's what?
Islamic.
I don't know. I always thought it was salam alaikum. Or is that like when you leave a motherfucker?
Oh fuck! Don't make me laugh. That's
I
what
don't
it made me think of.
I mean, clearly. I mean, I thought it was some Wakanda shit at first. Walaikum salam, con artist. It's been a long ass time since I've graced you with this heat of an email. So for one, welcome back, and I wish you many, many more. To clarify a few things from earlier in your return. Yes, I 100% remember the alleged group message that Mr. On Point was a part of. As I remember at the time, we had been hooping together for more than a few years and had all grown closer as niggas do over hooping. When I met On Point, we had casually talked about hooping, and I remember adding him and playing this particular day. We all decided to get into the most legendary roast session of all time. Like, we still reference it to this day. And On Point made a comment that he didn't end with a pause, leaving him open to being called gay. In our group, you got booted for shit less than that. It was funny at the time, and I definitely tried to add him back. Yeah, he added me back, and they booted me out again. I get it. I was not in the mind of immature niggas that like need a pause or need a no homo because I'm confident in my sexuality. You know, if I knew I was engaging with dudes of that caliber, I would have never said shit. I wouldn't have roasted. I wouldn't have got a part of the conversation. I just would have asked when we hooping. But you know, that's me though. I realize that in the regular world, it's hard to come across niggas that
Is your
have
battery finna die?
Say what?
Is your camera battery finna die?
Yeah, it's probably dead. I'll change in a second.
It keeps skipping, like it's skipping.
Yeah, it must be finna die.
Okay.
Oh no, it's still on. I don't know what's doing, but I'll change in a minute. When you start doing work, and moving forward in terms of addressing homophobia and misogyny and patriarchy and all of these different things, when you get into the world, you realize that a lot of motherfuckers ain't doing that work, and a lot of motherfuckers are still steeped into it. And that was the first time in my life that I realized that I was thinking that the audience around me was like me, and that was a very, very significant learning lesson for me. It's the real world ain't like that. Matter of fact, when I'm in TikTok lives, I use that group as an example all the time because we having a conversation about patriarchy and shit, right? And about how men gatekeep men from being able to participate in certain things. And it's this dude who used to bring his girl to hoop every now and then. Leroy Ketchum, I don't remember his name. It was the skinny, dark-skinned dude that liked to come drive down the middle and dunk, and used to get real mad when I just stand there and let him run into me, and it probably hurt. But he would bring his girlfriend sometimes, and like while she was there, dudes would act right. But when she gone, he'd be like, "Oh, they'd be like, oh, he finna be trying to dunk because his girlfriend," and they would just be joking about his girlfriend being there and what it must mean for her being there. That's gatekeeping our ability to bring our partners around and show love. Like that group had a lot of toxic behaviors in it that I didn't really give a fuck about talking about because we was there to hoop. But that's one of them moments where like I should have just stayed in my hooping lane instead of trying to participate in something to gain community, you know, to try to connect with the motherfuckers, but it didn't work out. Anyway, I probably should have finished the letter before I went on that tirade. But yeah, that's what happened. It pretty much happened like that. Motherfuckers kicked me out because they thought I was gay, which, I mean, I'm not gay, so I don't care what people think.
Even if you were, why would that be cause for getting kicked out? That's problematic in and of itself.
I don't know. It was a universal kick out. And you know what? I hooped with him after that. Like, because Chris told me when they hooping, I'd come. And everybody would say, "What's up? Hey." And I'm like, you know, a part of me is like, nigga, kick the nigga out of the group energy. Don't say hey to me. just take these motherfucking licks that you finna get on this court. You know what I'm saying? Don't say what's up. If you had a problem with me being in that group enough to kick me out twice, keep that same energy. Don't say nothing to me. Just let's hoop. But, you know, niggas is gonna nig. Number 2, in response to one of the previous Reddit stories, I too have passed out during coitus. 3 times, as a matter of fact, LOL. The first time I was a young, impressionable lad whose innocence was coerced from him. I remember wearing lots of wristbands and woke up to my shirt covered in love juices. The second time, I think I was after a basketball session during what I can only describe as the recovery period, where I had showered and was resting, but I'm sure I forgot to eat. The third time was mostly recently during a pretty intense no pants dance session pretty late at night. I do believe I wasn't hydrated enough, but I will always attribute it to my wife putting that thing on me. The session went from one room to another and up the stairs. I remember ending up on the table, but I also remember going to sleep. It was some good sleep too, because I woke up dick harder than Chinese arithmetic, leaning on the wall next to a sizable hole in the wall. Apparently, I fell out of my wife, who was on the table, and backwards onto which my head struck the wall, here forever known as the sex hole. Each time this has happened, my wife has been scared and is terrified, but it legit feels like going to sleep. And each time I wake up feeling confused, but I still be bricked up like a teenager in high school, sitting in front of the teacher with the fatty. I just thought it would be funny to share. Peace and blessing. The Locked Saying, formerly the artist known as the Leroy Ketchum, formerly Leroy T. Ketchum. All right, Locked Saying. I'm going to stop using Leroy Ketchum, but that's what the people know you by. But now they know you by the Locked Saying.
I'm going to fucking remember that. So Leroy, just yeah. I'm not gonna remember.
You know what? Like I was saying, that the sex hole, I like that. Like I like naming that hole after the event. Because remember when I was telling you, if this happened to me in my relationship, I would name all of these moments after something to remember the moments by. You remember that? I would name them after that, so I can remember them. That's how I remember shit. Otherwise, I forget. Like I gotta name my dreams. Yeah. Otherwise, I'll forget them. But yeah, that's. I don't know, man. I won't have that luxury, man. Like you a skinny dude, so if you fall back onto the wall, you good. If I would have fell back onto that same wall, not only would there be a hole where my head at, but this whole space where my back hit, I'm going to be stuck in the wall on the motherfucker. Like, I would have to be pulled out the wall, bricked up. That's not, nah. Like, I be having to think about most shit being a bigger nigga. Like, my woman would be, if I fell on my woman, like if I fell on top of my woman while I was having sex, that's going to be a situation. Especially like on a table. Like break both of her legs at the same time. That'd be fucked up. But appreciate that letter. Locked Saying. I'm clearly salty about being kicked out of the hooping group still because of being misunderstood because I had that tirade in the middle of the shit. But like, it is what it is. Like they treated me like I said, hey, you a sexy boo. I want to touch you on the basketball court. That's how they treated me. All I said was some shit that I didn't say no homo behind. Oh, I feel like I didn't meet the community standards yet. I was not close enough to anybody yet. I got in there and tried to roast because they had put me in a roast. And it was just I didn't have the social group capital to pay to play the game. And I went in dead on that motherfucker. But yeah. It's all good. Appreciate the letter, my guy.
Thanks. Do you want to do news or you want to do another Reddit?
How much time we been in here? We just be giving all kind of commentary these days. We ain't even been in here that long. We can do more another Reddit. I ain't got that much news.
Either.
But I got some.
Am I the asshole for not defending my partner after someone called her stupid?
Oh yeah, let's do that one.
Let me just say, you wouldn't even got a chance to defend me because I wish a motherfucker would. You ain't gonna have to say, I'm not even gonna give you an opportunity. I'm already have responded and reacted before you even able to jump in.
And that's the thing motherfuckers don't be thinking about. Like me personally, I'm not gonna defend you because I'm a man. Okay? I'm gonna ask you how you want situations to go if something happened to you, right? Because one, again, I don't want to take your ability to handle a situation away from you if you want to. I'm not just gonna step in and be like, hey, let me take care of this. That's not how I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make sure I know because I know you don't your partner ain't gonna have time to think about that shit.
Nope. Because
At all.
Who the fuck are you calling stupid? Let's talk about it.
Exactly. Now, and I won't want if somebody called my partner stupid, I won't want her to step back and just look at me. Like, what the fuck you doing? You better turn the other goddamn cheek. you better deal with that shit in some reasonable way. But I don't know. Let's see. The context might call for your partner need to step in. Like if it's one of my family members saying that to the person I'm talking to, then nah, shut the fuck up, family member, and we finna leave. My family know that though, so they never do. Like my family know that me being there is a gift. It's like Eddie being here is a luxury. Eddie will leave and not give a fuck that he was ever here. So we not finna do shit to fuck with Eddie. If we want Eddie to be there, you know. And if you don't want me to be here, you can just ask me to leave. You ain't got to do no extra shit. Just say, Eddie, you'd be best if you go. Okay, cool. I got shit to do anyway. But let's get it. What it's about.
So here's the kicker. This is a 26-year-old female and her 21-year-old female partner.
Okay.
There's no man involved in this.
Damn, I went straight into the traditional expected social dynamics.
There's no man in this. Two women. I'm 20. I don't even know where to start here, but I'll try. I'm 26 and my partner is 21. I work at a mechanics. My girlfriend is a nursery assistant. Not that it's really relevant. My girlfriend is admittedly not the smartest of people. Due to family issues, she ended up missing like 60% of school. Her attendance was literally 45% in her last year. She'll own up to not being able to do geography, etc. Usually she's fine with it because she's aware she's not smart. Jesus. What? Even that.
I know, right?
It's just, we've been at a family meal when my younger sibling brought up the fact that they didn't get into the college course they wanted due to grades. My girlfriend mentioned that she had to do her English twice before getting a B and still hasn't gotten her maths. But she's not giving up yet. Topic was left for a little while, but then my girlfriend overheard my sibling talking to my mother, who said something along the lines of, I knew girlfriend was dense, but 3 fails from maths, I just give up. I don't know why this was said or the exact wordings. Girlfriend is upset since she was just trying to be supportive and wants me to say something, but I didn't hear it directly, and it's my sibling's opinion. I agree. I would also give up if I failed 3 times. You're just a bitch. Oh. She's upset with me by saying, me saying nothing means I agree and I don't have her back. So she's staying with her parents. But as I said, I didn't directly hear it. Am I the asshole? Ma'am. First of all, you spent the entirety of this Reddit post talking about how fucking dumb your girlfriend is. Like, what? Oh, how hurtful that is. Hey, because you didn't directly hear it, so you think she lying? Because what does you not directly hear have to do with shit? Unless you don't believe that it was said. But I can believe that it was said given the fact that you, again, spent the entirety of this whole fucking thing calling her dumb. Like, first of all, she's not dumb. She's not stupid. You already said yourself because of family issues, she wasn't able to go to school in the traditional sense and missed a whole lot of school. That does not signify stupid. That signifies she's unlearned. She didn't get an opportunity to have the same, education that everybody else, but that does not mean that she's stupid. You're a terrible girlfriend. Yeah, you're an asshole and an awful girlfriend, and I hope she dumps you. Because what the fuck?
Yeah, I was gonna mention all of that shit you was talking about her being dumb in the whole damn letter. Like, and I really don't believe that you didn't hear the shit.
Yeah, I don't even.
I believe you heard it, you agreed with it, and you didn't defend it. Now, I feel like you should still defend, even if you agree with something that somebody do, you still should defend your partner's feelings and emotions, because they don't have the right to say that shit. And nobody else that ain't connected to your partner have the right to say that shit like that.
No.
Not like even if you believe it, it's like, why the fuck would you say some shit like that? Like, fuck you type shit. But yeah, you don't deserve your lady. Matter of fact,
do you see that your camera's died? It's weird. I just seen a black screen.
okay, let me change it.
She's a dick. She's a dick and she doesn't even have a dick. Like, okay, well, let me just fill this so that it's not dead space. It is ridiculous.
I said can't.
What?
I can hear you talking through the headset.
Yes, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to them.
I plugged it up in a minute.
I wasn't talking to you. I wasn't talking to you. I just didn't want it to be dead space while you were doing that.
Okay.
She's a terrible person. Like, so she did an edit. I can see I'm the asshole, but age has nothing to do with our relationship, and let's not turn it into that. She's 22 in a few months, and I turned 26 less than a month ago. It's a 4-year age gap, not 30. I don't even know why people. It ain't got nothing to do with you. You're just a dick. Like, I don't care how old you are. Like,
but there is I ain't gonna address this on TikTok or no videos, but it's a conversation going on about age gap that I think is getting lost in a weird space. It's like people are starting to look at so because of the age of consent between I guess certain age groups at certain times when transitioning out of high school, I guess people are just looking at 4-year gaps being in an inappropriate relationship at any time.
what?
Yeah, like 4-year. I don't know, man. It's a conversation to be had because, again, it's like people like a freshman dating a senior is okay if the senior is 17 and they 14, but when the senior turn 18 and the other one is 15, it's like people are saying, well, it's okay if you started dating before that, and it's not okay if you an 18-year-old date a 15-year-old. And it's like if there is a certain amount of age between two people, then the older person only had to be grooming the younger person. It's a weird conversation going on, man, that really don't reflect real life in a lot of scenarios. But that's why I think so, because they 25 and 21, that ain't a big enough age gap to make a difference.
No.
They still watch the same fucking cartoons growing up.
Yeah.
What you jump back for?
Because your mic did something weird. It was a really weird, loud sound.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, the age difference has nothing to do with this, and it's more about you thinking that your girlfriend's dumb, and you acknowledge that even if your sister did say it, well, it's her opinion that she's entitled to. So, like, you don't. There's no way.
Like, just say I didn't feel the need to defend you with your chest.
Yeah,
just say that I didn't feel the need to defend you, and take your consequences.
Basically, so this first comment, you're the asshole. Being educated and being smart are different. Your girlfriend is not well educated because family issues kept her out of school. You should not be letting it pass when your family is insulting her regardless. She letting it pass because she feel like it's true. She don't, because, and my thing is, if you feel like she's truly dumb and stupid, why are you dating her? What do they say about you? If you truly feel that negatively about her, then what the fuck are you even dating her for anyway? If you think she beneath you. Like, that's so disrespectful. Like, you literally spent the entirety calling her stupid. You acknowledge that she's not well educated because of issues in her family. And then for you to say, oh, I would have gave up too after 3 times, like, just give it up. What? You're not supportive at all. Like, you just a trash girlfriend. You're a terrible, terrible girlfriend. And again, I hope she break up with you and find somebody that's supportive of her and that will support her getting an education that's obviously important to her. She obviously already feels some kind of way about being behind other people that are in her age group. And so she's trying to rectify that. And you ain't even supportive of that shit. You're a dick. Like, my God, that was awful. You're awful. Man.
Yeah. Fuck you.
My God. Like, I wish somebody would. So in that situation, me and you wouldn't have even been together because when you were making little sly comments and shit about my intellect, because I'm sure you did that, nope. We wouldn't even got to a point where your family was saying a goddamn thing to me because I would have already got you together. Man, we wouldn't have even been together at that point. Because what you're not going to do is insult my intelligence. What you're not going to do is make these little slick ass comments and think that that shit is just going to flow on by. Not what we doing. Not what we doing. So we wouldn't have even made it to your family being able to say no shit to me because I would have already corrected you. And that would have probably led to the demise of our relationship because you're not finna sit up here and call me stupid. And you may not call her stupid, but I'm sure you treat her like she's stupid. Like, you probably are very condescending to her when she gets something wrong. No. Nope.
I'm not beyond being perceived by somebody else's family as stupid. Because when I walk in there being like Joe or Quinn Phoenix, they're gonna be looking at me like, this motherfucker went to high school. And so like I don't know if they're gonna be like, this boy stupid or something. I don't know what my partner would do if that ever happened. But I wouldn't care that much either.
I mean, there are some things. I mean, I feel like a lot of people do know that it's Joaquin, but like somebody the other day was talking about Acai, and I forgot what they said, but I was like, at first I didn't even know what they were talking about, and I didn't want to be like, what? So I just kept listening for context clues, and I was like, oh, okay, I know what they're saying.
Mm-hmm. Like, you never knew how to pronounce that shit until they said it.
Well, Acai.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it looks like a K, I guess.
I know. I've heard. That's how I was saying it. And then I was like, I can't be saying that shit right. That shit end with an I. It ain't this simple.
I mean, some words you got to give people passes for because they're just difficult fucking words, especially words that are not like English. People don't know that shit.
I had to tell somebody the other day, like, I told him I won second place in the spelling bee with a dude with the same first and middle name that I did. He won first place, I won second place.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Lamar, that's our middle names. And the word that I lost on was owl.
Like the bird?
I didn't ask. I just, between the bird, owl, and aisle, which, you know, when I told them the words, they was like, you mean aisle? I said, I'm from fucking Bumpkin Town, Alabama. Ain't no, all that shit sounded like owl to me. Ain't nobody in Alabama be like aisle. Nobody do that shit in Alabama. Like, that's one of those moments where you would have had to capitalize on asking people for the definition of the shit. I just didn't know I could do that. I just chose one to spell. I chose ISLE when it should have been AISLE. And so it's like pronouncing words is always gonna be a fucking weird ass shit in Alabama. You know what I'm saying?
But it was an Alabama person. Well, I guess I was gonna say it would have been an Alabama person that would have like been the person over the spelling bee that would have been saying the words too.
They from Alabama too. Like I'm telling you what I heard. Ain't nobody say no aisle. I would have. You know what I'm saying?
Well, aisle and aisle like an island and an aisle, like you walk down. I mean, there's a letter difference. They sound the same.
I know, but what they said also sounded like the bird. I remember thinking about them. I remember thinking about that shit. All I'm saying is a motherfucker that come from that kind of environment ain't finna think that word is acai. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'm like acai berries. And I'm saying that shit at somebody's house who be eating acai bowls for lunch and breakfast every day. I'm saying, imagine me saying that shit at their house when I first meet they damn her family, right? Oh, y'all eating them acai bowls. I might as well sound like old country redneck. Y'all eating them acai bowls, ain't you? That's what they hear when they hear us talking. You know that, right?
I hope they don't hear that when I talk. That's terrible.
I mean, you more polished than I am, and I'm more expressive with how I talk.
But everybody that always thinks that everybody from Alabama has that deep South accent, like I really wish they knew how much other people that live here that don't. That shit. That's why I don't listen to country music. There is something about that deep Southern accent that just make me think of Confederate flags and hanging niggas. And I can't take it. I've never been friends with somebody that has that. I can't listen to that shit. I can't.
See, you use like 3 words in that a person outside of here would hear. First, you said that's, which you didn't say that's. You said that's. Now it sounds a lot closer to that's than my that's. You know what I'm saying? But it's still there. You also said hanging. You know what I'm saying? Like hanging niggas instead of hanging. You know what I'm saying? Like they gonna hear that shit like that. We use a lot of our words, even when a black person from the South speak relatively proper, it still got that apostrophe on the end of some words. You know, like
but it doesn't have that. The accent different. It's
the accent different, but the words a lot of the time is what tell the story too. You know, like I got the accent, but if you don't have an accent but say words in the way that they would be said by somebody with an accent, it's still they be like, you must be from Alabama. You know,
it's a different to me. It's just, and maybe because I'm so bothered by the accent, I can't take it. Again, I've never been friends with anybody. Like if you had an accent, I can't listen to it. I'm sorry. It bothers
see, can't that shit ain't everywhere.
Can't. Who does
that shit ain't everywhere.
People don't use contractions everywhere.
They don't say can't. That ain't the word. The word is can't. In the South, we say can't. Like they know that shit ain't from fucking California or New York.
Well, I don't think they have their own significant accents and way of saying words too. Like you know when somebody's from New York, you're not gonna confuse a person from New York for being from California or from down here. Like all of these places have their own distinctive accents and say things in a way that is not the proper English sound. Like niggas from New York, I can't even understand sometimes, depending on like how New York. Same thing with Louisiana. I don't be understanding a lot of the shit they say. Like every place I don't know that any of us speak proper English. Everybody just got their own.
All I'm saying is it's still a way to detect where you're from, regardless of how proper
I'm not saying that I don't sound like I'm from Alabama, but I do not sound like Backwood Hick from Alabama either. That's all I'm saying. There is a difference.
Hold doggy. Let's go get some Coors Lights. Light this goddamn fire. Get the dogs out the crate. And we gonna goddamn have a goddamn party tonight.
Yeah, different. That is very different to me. Substantially different. Can't take it. I can't. I hate it. I fucking hate it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna talk like this my whole life. I mean, it's just what it is. Maybe it's a part of my charm. Oh, he's so disarming with his seemingly unintelligence, but when he starts saying shit, it sounds like it makes some sense.
You don't think if you move somewhere and live somewhere for a substantial amount of time that you would sound different?
Absolutely, because my brother sound different. I mean, me and my brother talk the same. We sound the same. We talk different. You know, so now it's like getting to the point, like when my brother first went out to California, when people started seeing him on movies or on TV shows, they would call me and say, "Damn, I know that's your brother. This sounds just like you." But they don't do that no more. They just recognize him. But we don't. I mean, going out there, he's had to intentionally work on that though, because when he was on Curb Your Enthusiasm, they had a scene where he had to say oils, but he said oils, and Larry didn't know what the hell. Like Larry didn't know what the hell he had said. So it was a skit called Fruit Safe, and he was talking about JB Smoove was telling him, name all the fruits you can't name all the he couldn't eat stone fruit basically. Because anything with a stone fruit, he said I drop dead on the fucking floor. And so Larry was like, so you can't eat fruit? And he was like, JB Smoove was like, name all the fruits you can't eat. He was like a peach, a plum, and he was like, you think you know more stone fruit than I do? And he said, the oils will fuck me up. And he's like, the what? And then my brother had to correct himself by saying, the oils from the fruit, they'll fuck me up. And JD called me after that and said, like, it's other shit that he been saying that people don't be understanding out there from the South. And he had to go to classes to re-enunciate stuff. Mm-hmm. Like he had to do work intentionally to learn how to re-enunciate stuff because it's some shit that people weren't understanding and wouldn't translate over well to an audience that's watching. Mm. So that scene might have been cut from the show because of that. But you know, Curb Your Enthusiasm, they just freestyle a whole bunch of shit and just cut it to look like what Larry wanted to look like. Yeah. So it ain't like, you know, it ain't like that scene being cut as a problem for the show or for JD. But I because of that, I know that going out to somewhere else and adopting different language, yeah, it's going to change. I ain't stay in Hawaii long enough to adopt language. But like everywhere in Hawaii, they say mahalo. Mm-hmm. And you don't say that shit, you disrespect them. And they put their hands up with one of these shits, like I forgot what it's called, but they do that shit.
Is it okay for people not from there to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just a sign of mutual respect. Something positive happened.
Okay.
Somebody let you in through traffic. They put their hand out the window with that, and you do it back. And
okay.
Yeah, it's like, you know, just showing.
It's a
bunch of different.
It's the wave that we do that people get mad. If you don't get your wave, you let somebody in traffic, like bitch.
It's like the Hawaii version of like when black folks nod their head to each other. Mm-hmm. Except everybody can do it. I mean, white people can do that, but it's like, why are you doing up instead of down? You know, white people, they nod their head down to acknowledge you. Black folks nod their head up. Like, if a white person do up, because these days I do down for some reason. I haven't been around too many white people, but I do down instead of up. But yeah, that's one of them things where it's like, you know, cultural differences or whatever. You good?
Yeah, that's all I got for my Reddit.
Okay. Well, I guess we can do some news.
All right. If you have a Reddit question, comment, whatever, you can send it to our Gmail account, which is conversationconartist@gmail.com, or you can find us on our social media. You know, so we had a show that we didn't put out where we were talking about Nick Cannon and having all these children. I don't think I thought about the fact that what is his young boy NBA young boy? Mm-hmm. He has the same amount of kids as Nick Cannon. He's 22 years old. He just had his 10th fucking child.
I mean, Shawty Lowe had a bunch of kids. Boosie had a bunch of kids. Hell, who? DMX, Eddie Murphy. Like, all these rich niggas be having kids.
No, not all these rich niggas do that to that extent. Not all of them are out here.
Well, I mean, I guess there's a component to a man. There's a component to a man being rich that makes him throw his fucking not give a fuck, throw his meat around like that.
I feel like NBA NBA Youngboy would be doing this whether or not his rap career had kicked off or not. He got more active, but I feel like he would have still did this shit and just been a deadbeat ass dad. That's the vibe he give off. I don't think he's doing this because he has money.
No,
Hell,
I'm not saying he did.
Having kids before he only 22.
I'm not saying he did it before he had
Man,
money. Well, you know, he could street life. He could have been having hood money, and money enough to live in the hood comfortably and have a nice car and whatever.
That's not enough to adequately take care of 5 kids. Let's say
It ain't like I mean, if that's the case, he probably wasn't gonna plan on taking care of them no damn way. I mean, and we don't even know if he even taking care of the 10 kids that he got. Like, is he taking care of the kids because he got the money?
Probably not.
Or
Like,
he just
you
had
don't really hear. Like, all the reason I heard about it because he just had the 10th, and so like, there's a picture of him holding the baby because she was at the hospital and just had it. But like, I don't know how much he's there after the fucking baby get here. Yeah, this the nigga that Yaya was stabbing bitches over. I stand behind. It's irresponsible as fuck to have this many children. Even if you have money, I just don't think you could adequately parent that many kids. You can't adequately parent that many kids when you're in the household with them. We saw that with them fucking 19 and counting people. It's too many kids. There's only 2 of y'all.
So which one do you think is worse? A situation where Nick Cannon, in agreement with 10 different women, have kids, or NBA Youngboy, who is just
in agreement too. They were in agreement having these kids with him. It ain't no different to me. How was it different? Why?
What you mean? The agreement was that they had sex. What I'm saying is, Nick Cannon presumably is arranging having children with these women. It's not that he getting them pregnant.
Do we know that he's doing that?
Yes, that's what the women been saying. At least 2 of them. I have said that like this was a decision that they made.
I feel like NBA Youngboy is doing it too. I feel like these girls and him are like, we gonna make a baby because he's young and stupid. Because they still sound young and stupid that Nick Cannon is doing this. Like,
I'm not talking about from the perspective of consensually having sex and a baby coming out of it because
I
he
think
sprayed
they
the walls
are
in.
having sex to make a baby. Like, I think he telling them he want to have a baby, or they just like, I want to have your baby. And
I guess that's gonna depend on whether they taking care of him or not.
Why?
So you think that NBA Youngboy is saying I want to have a child with you, having a child with him, and then just abandoning the family?
I don't even know that he abandoned it. I mean, he might be, because I don't know that he's doing anything less than what Nick Cannon is like giving them money to help take care of these kids. I don't know how much actively Nick Cannon is present. To me, that's no different than if this little nigga is giving these women money to help take care of the kids. That's the same shit. It's just more polished because it's Nick Cannon, but it's no different to me. It's the same fucking shit.
I think the variable is if Nick Cannon is one, if he's intending on being there and attempting to be there for all of his kids. Now, the problem is whether he can actually do it or not, which is no. He can't do it for all of his kids. He gonna do it more for some and less than others. It ain't possible he can tend to his twins with Mariah to any other kids. It's no possible way. Like, you know, so yeah, he ain't gonna be able to do all of that. But if the understanding of everybody is that this is how much time you get, this is how we all are going to engage, this is what I'm gonna do for y'all financially, I'm gonna be present for my family, that I feel like that's different.
I just don't know. I think you're giving Nick Cannon way too much credit. I just do not think it's all laid out like that. I just don't. I don't think it's that way at all. I think he's financially, because whoever this last bitch was, girl, woman, whatever was, he bought her a house because they said that was the least he could do. And so, I mean, he giving them money, but I just don't know that he has like planned out how much time he's gonna spend with all of them. I just don't think it's that. I think it's the same shit. It's just
Okay.
more polished because
Let's take it away from Nick Cannon then. Let's take it away from Nick Cannon. And I'm not gonna ask you, I'm just gonna say what I think. I think the scenario of niggas slinging meat and inadvertently having children all over the place that they end up taking care of is different than if a man were to be in polyamorous relationships with multiple women and those people as a group decide that they want kids from this person and have an arrangement. I just think those are two different things. I'm not going to further say that that's Nick Cannon's situation, but I'm going to say that if everybody in this arrangement understands what we get out of it, then that's different than just like Future inadvertently having kids and just like fighting not to take care of the motherfuckers like Future be doing. Like Future be fighting not to pay women child support when he had these great grand album sales. It's different. Like these are different scenarios. Again, two of the women that Nick Cannon was with, they know of the arrangement that he had with other women. They decided to have a baby with him because of that. I can't say that that's all of them, you know, but it's starting to feel like really that them wilding out girls just a cult for Nick Cannon to find suitors for his babies. And maybe they say what?
Is that okay?
That's not okay. That's not okay. I'm not saying that's okay. That's why I took it out of Nick Cannon, because we just really don't know what's going on with Nick Cannon. I just think that if there was a scenario in which somebody who had resources said that, look, because of whatever scenario going on in my head, I would like to spread my children and my name across this place, and anybody who agree with that can come on and we can do it. And if 10 women stepped up and agreed with that, in the scheme of the kids, that's fuckery. But in the scheme of whether he's actually doing wrong as far as immoral shit, I mean, I can't say that.
I've never said anything about immorality. This whole conversation for me has been about how this negatively impacts these children, which is why I mentioned the 19 kids and counting parents, because they had resources. They both were in the home with the kids. They both gave the kids financially and as far as like resource wise, everything they needed.
But motherfuckers was molesting each other. Like that was 19 people in the same house.
It doesn't matter. The reason
that do matter now. You ain't say that piece don't matter.
The reason why that was occurring and the parents didn't even fucking know about it is because how you cannot watch 19 kids. You can't do that. It's not possible. It's impossible. Like the more children that you have, the more spread out you become and the less each of those kids are going to get. It's irresponsible.
But there is no recipe for how to keep your children from trauma. There's no recipe,
but there's shit that you know will create trauma that you could just not fucking do. Inadvertently happen, but like this ain't inadvertent. This a plan.
But either way, in the worst case scenario, Nick Cannon shit is still a child being raised by a single mother. I mean, it just equates back to shit that's going on all over the place. I mean, that being raised by that single mother because the father wanted to spread his seed around it. That piece of it don't guarantee that shit gonna go any worse than a family in the hood that's poor.
It's a choice that you made. Again, we're talking about an inadvertent or thing that you can't necessarily control the outcome of, and things that people are choosing to do. This is not this is hood behavior. This is like a family cycle, and so these people are stuck in this way of thinking. This is Nick Cannon making conscious decisions and these women making conscious decisions to do this shit. I feel like that's different.
But that, to me, that still makes it a better scenario if Nick Cannon believe he can be in that child's life and is in that child's life.
But he can't be. You just said he can't be in the kid.
He can be.
Not the way he need to be.
Not the way he need to be, but that would still be better than somebody who for 18 years hadn't been seen. They child ain't seen him in an environment where the father just abandoned the family.
All of this shit is irresponsible. That's all.
It's all irresponsible, but like there's still, but you can't just, okay, under the umbrella of irresponsibility, there are discernments to be made. You ain't willing to make no discernments in none of it. You just saying it's all irresponsible, so it's the same to me.
Because I think the only discernment that you make is, again, Nick Cannon shit is more polished. It's no different than what NBA YoungBoy is doing, though. It's a
depends. It depends on some variables. What if we found out that NBA YoungBoy wasn't paying no money for none of his kids and none of his baby mamas and was actively fighting not to do it in court, and Nick Cannon was paying all these women and making sure the kids would take care of and buying a house?
I'm basing this off of the information that we do know.
But we don't know enough information to make any of these assessments then. Right? All we can say is it's irresponsible.
That's
all I'm trying
is that all of these situations are irresponsible.
What is a discernment that you would make amongst somebody that's having a bunch of kids that make a difference between the two?
There's none. I just don't. Why would you do that? As far as it pertains to the children involved.
There's discernments to be made, is what I'm saying. There's discernments to be made.
Okay.
If you had a client come into your life that had 10 kids, and you were working with that client, what would you communicate to that client in order to make them give those kids a better experience?
What are they coming to me for? That may not even be part of a reason for me to even be involved in that aspect of their life. Are they coming to me?
It is. They came to you for something related to not being able to have a work-life balance because they got so many kids.
That wouldn't have anything to do with the reason and why they did it. We would have to figure out a way for them to create whatever kind of a balance they could. It still ain't got nothing, like how I feel about them doing it in general don't have anything to do with what I would be doing with them in therapy at all. Morality or whatever, like irresponsible, none of that would matter. It would be about helping them find the balance that they're looking for in whatever way they can, considering
you don't think there's a difference between a man seeking to find balance so he could be more present for his children that he have for whatever reason, and you helping him get to a point where he can be more present for his family, even though he got to split it up and his time is limited, than a man who ain't trying to do that at all and is avoiding that responsibility?
None of that has anything to do with therapy. Like you're trying to make it to where I need to make a distinction. I don't, though, not in this situation, and not even in that situation, because again, what they're doing outside has nothing to do as it's whatever they're coming in for. I don't have to make a distinction. Because the fact of the matter is, part of the issue is he chose to have 10 kids, and so there's only going to be so much that he's going to be able to balance out. That's a lot of children. And especially if they spread out among 10 different households, we're going to be real limited on what he's even going to be able to do anyway, because that's a lot of spreading yourself out.
So distinctions, is it safe to say that you believe distinctions exist, you're just not willing to discern them because it's all irresponsible?
Yes. Well, no, I don't even know that. Again, I don't know.
So again, you don't think that
distinction. I think distinctions exist in general. In this situation, no.
So, what you mean in this situation?
With these all people having multiple kids, like double-digit kids, not even just multiple children. When you in the double digits.
So, of all the men in this world that have 10 kids, you don't think that there is a scale that can put them on better for their family?
It's still all irresponsibility. I don't care where they fall on the scale of irresponsibility. It's all irresponsible. It's still irresponsible. Like, you're still.
I'm not disputing that it's not irresponsible. What I'm saying,
you're less irresponsible than the next nigga. Y'all all irresponsible.
What I'm saying is that there is, amongst all the men that have 10 kids, there is there's a scale of men that can be doing better for as many of those kids as they can, and there are men that can just ain't doing shit for none of their kids and don't plan on it. And we could talk about that with men with 2 kids. If men got 2 kids, there's a difference between a man that got 2 kids that is there for his 2 kids and who got 2 kids and who ain't there for his 2 kids. Like there's distinctions to be made. Why does when it reaches a certain amount of kids, it don't matter, you can't be a good father, or there's no point of discerning it because you're going to
be limited in how good of a father you
how can be. You are limited doesn't
that you made. Like, you did something in your choice to continue to have 10 plus children that was always going to limit your ability to be a parent. Why would you even choose to do that? You don't have to do that. Nick Cannon could have stopped at 5. He could have stopped and been the best possible father to the number of kids that he had at any point. But he ain't done. I don't think this conversation is going to go on because he's going to have more kids. Why not do that? Why not impact the world with your seed by making sure the ones that you have are the best possible kids they can be, instead of just going out and having as many as you can until your dick stop working? Because I think that's what we're looking at. I don't know when he's gonna stop. Is there a point where it just becomes ridiculous? If he go on to have 20 kids, you still gonna have your same position that, well, he's doing what he can and they've had an agreement and all. Is there not a point where it's like, damn, Nick, enough?
Well, again, it's irresponsible. Shouldn't be having that many kids because you can't take care of them. But again, it sounds like what you're saying is because you have so many kids, you can't be a quality father. You can't be more than another man with 10 kids. Like all of y'all the same.
All of y'all are irresponsible.
We've established
and I'm
that.
not doing scales of irresponsibility. No, you're irresponsible. Period. I don't care about the little nuances. You made the same decision. He's no different than NBA Yoboy in the decision of having all of these goddamn children.
Then for you, what's the number upon which a man gets to of having kids that you think that it's now no point of discerning how fatherly or present they can be for their family? What's the number? Because if it ain't 2, is that what's the number for you?
I mean, double digits for sure. But like, I mean,
it got to be less. Come on, how different is 10 and 9?
I would need to say it. There, you act like there's not studies that show as far as regarding like the negative impact. Again, you as a parent only have so much that you're going to be able to do. And that's even again with the 19 kids, them kids was in the house with them and was still fucked up because it was just so many of them.
Again, you're using terminology like only so much, which means that there is something. So if there is something that one person is willing to give that another person is not willing to give, why not still be able to look and discern what the difference is? Like, I ain't saying you got to accept it. I ain't saying that it got to mean that they responsible. I mean, for real, a motherfucker trying the hardest that they can is still, it's going to be very, very limited to what they can give their children. But if one person is intending to give 4 kids something and successfully does that, versus a man out of them saying another set of 10 kids that don't give them nothing, they both irresponsible. They both got a bunch of failures between their kids. One of them got less and one of them got more. All I'm saying, I mean, you ain't got to agree. I ain't got to get you to agree. This one of our debates that people gonna come in and tell me I'm wrong, but there is still a difference between those two men. And again, if there is a number of kids that you get to in which it's just null and void now, you done made it to this many kids, is no point of discerning whether you a good father or not because you really can't take care of all your kids. So it's just, then I'd like to know what that number is, because realistically 5 should probably be that number. I mean, unless they live in the same house. Okay, 5 kids live in the same house. If you got 5 kids spread out, then it should probably be that number. Or what if you got 3 kids on 3 coasts? You know what I'm saying? Like, your logic would apply to that father too in that situation. Like,
how is he going from coast to coast making babies anyway?
Man,
he's irresponsible.
Well, he could have made them all in Alabama and somebody moved to New York and somebody moved to California.
That's very different. All of this has been about people on the front end making a decision. This is not about, how it turns out eventually.
No, you've been saying that the measure is the outcome for the kids. If the measure of the outcome for the kids.
The measure has also, I said, both of these men have made the decision to have all of these kids for whatever their reason is. That's the beginning of the outcome for the kids, is making these selfish ass decisions in the beginning. But if you have kids with women and y'all live in the same place and then people move, you didn't know that when in the beginning, but they know that they're having. Nick Cannon know that this was going to be his 10th baby when he impregnated her. Young boy NBA knew that this was going to be his 10th baby when he impregnated her. Somebody who has children with somebody that can't see the future and know that they're going to move, different. But they knew.
Well, but let's say they did move. Let's say they did move, but he just had 3 kids and just never took care of none of them. That would still be the same thing because he made the decision to have these 3 kids, and the outcome on the kids is the same. So, I mean, technically,
like truck drivers that do that shit, that just be having women in everywhere they drive around and be having these babies, irresponsible.
So it sounds like then it wouldn't matter whether it don't matter how many kids they have. The measure is if you made this decision and you didn't follow up by taking care of your decision based on the outcome of your child suffering, then it wouldn't matter if you had 1 or 10.
But
If
we're
the intention
specifically
wasn't
talking about 2 men with 10 kids. We're not talking about all these other things. Like, the conversation has been about 2 men with the same number of kids. One of them substantially younger than the other. So that's what the conversation has been about, these 2 specific situations. But are there other situations where people can be irresponsible in parenting? There's numerous. We could be here all day naming the ways that parents can be irresponsible in their beginning decisions. A lot of those exist.
But the reason this conversation is going this path is because the way it sounds like the way that you see it
I
is
won't
at
give
a
leeway to levels of irresponsibility. That's why this, and I'm not going to. It's still all irresponsible. Like, if it's less irresponsible, he's a little more. It's all irresponsible.
But if you were dating a man that had 2 kids and were involved with his kids and had an opportunity to date him and found out another man had 2 kids and he didn't fucking take care of his kids at all, that would be how you make a decision about dating the people further, right?
One of them is irresponsible and one of them is not. The guy who's taking care of his kids is not being irresponsible. If I dated somebody who had 10, first of all, I would never. If I met somebody, let me say that. If I met somebody who had 10 kids, it would not fucking matter to me whether or not he was as involved as he could possibly be. You having 10 kids, to me, is irresponsible, and I'm not going to date you, whether you're involved with the kids or not. You got 10 goddamn children. No, absolutely not. It wouldn't matter. That distinction would not be made. I'm not dating somebody with 10 kids, period. Wouldn't do it. As soon as I met you and you stay at 10, don't care. I don't care how involved you are. I don't care if you're going to all the, I don't give a fuck. 10 kids, no. I don't want no parts of that. Don't want no parts of it.
So a man that had 10 kids that spent a significant amount of time with all his kids wouldn't fall in the category.
No, I would still not date him. It's still.
I mean, no. Not we going past dating. We just looking at.
He would still be irresponsible. That's why I wouldn't date him. Even if he's taking care of them as much as he possibly can. Again, you're limited.
I know you wouldn't. Look, I know you wouldn't date him. I'm just talking about in general now. Like amongst the niggas with 10 kids, we got NBA YoungBoy who we don't know what he's doing. Nick Cannon who believe he can but can't, and we got another man who maybe he ain't got to work. He can be there for all 10 of his kids. Now we know that the decision was irresponsible, but are we not looking at him any different than any of those other men because he made 10 kids?
Yeah. It's irresponsible. And give me please an example of somebody who would not have to work and could just be at home with 10. And then again, that goes back to the 19 kids and counting people. That's the same situation. They were both at home with those kids, but because there were so many of them kids had all kind of fucking problems because they could not be there watching adequately. So, like, even if you didn't work and you were there with them, does not guarantee that the kids are not going to suffer from the fact that there's 10 of them. Because them white folks showed that they had money.
But don't guarantee they are going to suffer.
My thing about this is this. If at any point I decide to have kids, anything that I have control over in the beginning that I can do to make their life better, I'm going to do that. I'm not, because it's already enough shit that you don't have control over. It's already enough shit that could potentially happen that you couldn't foresee. But the foreseeable shit, why would you roll the dice on that? For what? And you don't have to. That's what I'm saying. Like, if something happens that you didn't foresee, I cannot fault you for that. But this is not that. These are people making conscious decisions. And I'm not going to make no decisions in the beginning of a child's life that I know could potentially, especially not no black kids. My kids would be black. I'm trying to give them all the levels up in life I can because I already know how difficult this shit finna be for them. So why would I do stuff that could potentially make it even harder when I don't have to? That's crazy to me. And these are black men with black little boys and black little girls. Like, why? Why would you do that when the world already gonna be shitting on them anyway? That's stupid to me. For what? No. I'm sorry. I can't.
And I'm not arguing that. I'm not disputing that at all. That is the scenario. I don't agree with nobody having this many kids. I know that there are situations that can come out of this problematic. In my head, a millionaire absent father that can provide resources for their kids is better than a broke ass dude working under the table who got the same amount of kids who ain't trying to provide for them. In my mind, a group of those kids have a better possibility of some form of success, while they are gonna have some trauma, and the other group has all of the markers of having a more problematic environment. They from a poor environment. They don't have resources. They don't have a father figure in their life. They just gonna have a worse time than those other kids. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And you are not willing to make the discernment because it's all irresponsible. But at some point, somebody got to make that discernment. At some point, some system is going to make that discernment.
Or maybe people make better decisions. Why do we have to make
But
a
the decisions,
discernment?
I mean, if we had time machines, that'd be great.
Well, no, because the thing about it is, we're not gonna say if that were. I would accept that statement if, from viewing this, people wouldn't go on to do this shit. Okay, they can't go back in time and not do this, but other niggas are gonna do this. It does not act like this from this point on because we know it's irresponsible. Nobody's ever gonna have 10 kids again. That's not the case. We know that this is gonna happen. It's been happening. It's people with more than 10 kids.
That's what I was about to say.
Shorty Low probably had more. I don't remember how many he had.
He had a lot.
It's gonna continue to be a thing.
This is not revolutionary shit.
No.
And more so than anything, men that have a lot of money or resources, one, they have greater access to women. Two, they have greater access to women who would like to have a baby by them because it's financially rewarding for them to do so. And so that those combinations are gonna put those men in group. That ain't new. That's been around forever. And it ain't new in the hood.
Why make discernments to make it easy for like, well, I did this, but I ain't as bad as such and such because I'm doing it. It's all still bad. Like,
well, the conversation we having ain't finna reach somebody who gonna start doing this because it's being done.
I'm just not willing, even in my own conversations, to make discernments for it because all of it is wrong and it needs to stop. It's stupid. It's because you have money. You got money. That means you got to make babies. All the shit you can do with having resources and money. And this what you do because the money to do it. Like, what?
The conversation ain't justifying somebody's ability to have a bunch of kids because they got money. It's basically saying these kids being here and focusing on the outcome of what these kids are going to have. There are ways that these kids are going to have a better life versus not have a better life. That's just the reality. Some kids are going to have a worse life after they here now, and some are going to have. If we just talking about the outcome of the kids, that's a different conversation than men out here looking at Nick Cannon as an example and choosing to have a bunch of kids because of that. If we talking about the outcomes of the kids, what schools your kids go to make a difference. The kind of food your kid eat make a difference. The ability for your mother to be present make a difference. All of that shit make a difference. Even if it's 10 kids.
There are a lot of celebrity kids because they have all those things that you're talking about, who still end up having severe mental health issues, even though they had all the things a kid could possibly want because their parents weren't present in their life other than providing resources for them. We see it all the time. You see these celebrity kids that end up on drugs, that commit suicide. They had all of those things that you're talking about. All of the resources, the best school, the best food, all of that. But not having your parent present matters. We know that.
That's, I guess, the undertone of my argument. That's the undertone of what I'm saying. Is like there is no way to determine that these kids are going to have a better or worse time than any single parent kid in the community with a family because of the resources, or a wealthy family who got all things together and their kids ain't got together, or Nick Cannon having 10 kids with all of these women. And because Nick Cannon made these irresponsible decisions, that it's somehow supposed to be some measure of the outcome of these kids. It's not.
It's not of the guaranteed outcome, but like I said, I don't understand why you would do something that could when again, there's so many other things that you don't have control over. Why would you do something that could potentially have negative outcomes when you don't have to? This is not a mistake. This is not this shit just happened. This is like choices. Why make this choice when you don't have to? When you could, again, just do everything you could. Because again, you already know it's going to be difficult. And
But
again,
we
I think I
look,
especially feel away because these are little black kids that you're doing this to.
well, we can say that to everybody who are in cycles of making mistakes or who have a uh uh conditioned mindset that makes them feel like this is the proper decision, or who is not responsible enough to take the precautions to not have the, we can say that about anything that anybody does. Okay, well,
We
you
do.
shouldn't have made the decision. You shouldn't have
We
made the
do
decision.
say that.
And say what?
We do say that about other stuff. That people should not be making some of these decisions.
But does that mean that a conversation should not be had about how to make the best of the decisions that's being made for the people involved?
We were not having a conversation about me. Ken, all of this is irresponsible. You want to have levels of irresponsibility when discussing this, and I'm just saying it's all irresponsible.
Let's not look at it as levels of responsibility. Let's look at how much a person who's made these decisions can make their situation better. Like, what can they do? Like, there are things that they can do to make the situation better. And there's a conversation to be had about what this person who has been irresponsible can do to start being accountable for their actions. And I'm saying that, like, if we just gonna look at them all the same, then at what point are we saying this is how you take accountability for that? It's like, nope, not having a conversation with you, your ass irresponsible. I'm saying you're irresponsible. We need to have a conversation about accountability. And accountability looks like this.
Accountability means continuing to have children and doing the best you can, even though you're continuing to have children. That's being accountable.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about.
Let's say this time next year, Nick Cannon had an 11th kid. He's being accountable because he's taking care of all of the kids, or to the best of his ability, even though he's still making the decision to create even more life. So, like, because he's doing the best he can to take kids, so he just have as many kids as he wants to. It's never going to matter because the accountability part is not in the decision he's making. It's what he's doing after he makes the decision. Because again, I don't think this is the last of it. This is not going to be his last child. He's going to still do this shit.
Okay, that would be the case. But you are making that argument in the event that somebody who done stopped having the way you've been arguing is if somebody has no more kids after that, it still wouldn't matter because with their 10 kids, they've been irresponsible. So ain't no conversation to have because you've been irresponsible. Ain't even a conversation to have about accountability because, well, you got 10 kids now. Like, shouldn't have had 10 kids. I ain't got shit to tell you about how to be better for that kid, those kids, or that family, or what you should do to move forward and be accountable for those things. Like, that's your point. So it wouldn't even matter in the point you've been arguing whether they had kids or not. Because if they don't have no more kids, it sounds like your point still stand on that person too.
It's still irresponsible. Like, again, like I said, if I met a man who had 10 children and he wasn't planning on having any more kids, I still wouldn't date him because, yes, irresponsible.
Look, we ain't just him existing. You don't have to talk about you dating. You feel like that way about him existing, regardless with anybody.
He's still irresponsible. Yeah.
What's the irresponsible part though? Because if he stopped having kids and he's seeking to not have any more kids, then when do we say he was irresponsible instead of he is irresponsible? Okay, you had 10 kids, you got the snip. You're not gonna have any more. So you were irresponsible. Now, what do you do with that person? Because you were irresponsible, we still ain't gonna talk about ways you could be better.
He was irresponsible in that regard, and you can't take back the kids. So,
I know you can't take back the kids, but like you can't say he is now irresponsible.
He is irresponsible in the fact that he had 10 kids. Yes, I'm not saying he's irresponsible in every other aspect of his life. I'm saying in this way, you're irresponsible.
But if you're saying that accountability means not having more kids, right?
Accountability means a lot of things. But
what I'm saying is the way that you challenged me bringing up accountability was you said that can he really take accountability if he keep having kids? I'm saying this person ain't having no more kids.
But wait, the whole conversation has been about Nick Cannon and young boy NBA, not these possible situations that could potentially exist and happen. It's been about these two specific men. And in these two specific cases, irresponsible. and gonna continue to be irresponsible.
I understand. That's what the conversation started off to be. But what you're saying about the whole genre of men with 10 kids is that their irresponsibility renders no more conversation need to be had with them. And that, so, I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's okay to say that. I mean, we know what the
I mean,
what I'm saying.
Said that. You keep trying to make it to where I'm gonna like give leeway, and I'm letting you. I'm not going to. You're right. They're irresponsible when it comes to the decision that they made for their children, and having 10 of them spread out all over the place. Irresponsible. It's irresponsible.
Okay, which for you means that at a certain point, when you have an amount of kids, regardless of if you're going to have more or you're not, or you're trying to do better, the fact that you had 10 kids
is irresponsible.
It's irresponsible enough for society to not care about you in terms of helping you figure out how to be better for the kids that you have.
Help you figure out how to be better? How? What do you mean? Help? Why is, first of all, why is it society's responsibility to help you figure out?
It's not society's responsibility. This person can be asking people for help. This person can be asking people for assistance. This person could have been on, it's a lot of reasons that this person could have had kids like this, right?
Asking for assistance in what way that I would actually be able to help them in any way.
So
there's I can't help them.
So there's not a form of therapy in which a person can go try to find out how to be a better parent for their kids.
Even in doing that, you're going to be very again. You use.
But being very limited is still. Understand, you're gonna be very limited.
Help them and still think that they're fucking irresponsible. Like, I'm not saying that they obviously for the health of these children, them being the best possible parent is important, but you still fucking irresponsible. Me helping you does not mean that I don't think that you're me helping you ain't even for you. It's for these children that you made that didn't ask to be here. Like, me helping you does not mean that you're not irresponsible. You still fucking irresponsible. And now we got to figure out the best way to maneuver through your irresponsibilities so that you can be the best possible parent for these children.
Okay. So that's the only thing that I've been trying to understand. If you have a conceptualization of in how you process this, is if being a better parent is possible. And it's been sounding like that you don't think that there's no way to be a possible better parent.
You can be the best parent in your limited situation that you can be, yes. But what I'm saying is you put that limitation on yourself, which is what makes it irresponsible.
Okay, but and I believe that those are three different conversations. How irresponsible you are is its own conversation. The limitations that you put on yourself is its own limitation, and how present you can be for the people is its own. They are their own conversations. They are their own conversations. They don't have to be conflated. It don't have to be because you're irresponsible because of the situation you put on yourself. Then you can't get no help. Ain't no point in trying to be a better father because you made the decision in his limit.
Didn't say that. You can be again. You gonna be very limited.
That's all I've been trying to understand. If you believe,
why does that matter? It still doesn't do anything for this conversation about these men making really fucked up decisions that's gonna impact their kids. Like, that's like, I mean, you can be the best version of it, but it's still not good.
I ain't
the best of your situation.
I ain't disputed that. I understand. I mean, ain't nothing you saying wrong. I just think
said that Nick Cannon, like, he gonna be there as much as he can be, but would he have been able to be there much more had he made a different decision not to do this shit? Yeah. I
guess if the reason that the conversation devolved into this for me is because every person with 10 kids is going to be different. And there could very well be differences between Nick Cannon's situation and YoungBoy's situation. We don't know enough to know, but the possibility that it can be better for some kids than other kids, it's still, to me, worth looking at in these conversations. It's still worth looking at to me in these
I
conversations.
don't know why it's worth looking at. Why does it matter?
Because it can be different for the kids, for the outcome. I mean, just seeing Nick Cannon okay, so kids don't have Nick Cannon in their life. Just seeing Nick Cannon on TV with wilding out for their whole life or their whole childhood until the nigga die is different than seeing NBA Youngboy on TV for slapping up their mamas all the time and new women and sleeping around. All of the shit, him going to jail all the time. There's two different experiences.
I said from the beginning that Nick Cannon is a more polished version of this. But they doing the same thing. He's a polished version. He's not the hood nigga, rough nigga.
That polished version still has implications on the outcome for the children. It still has an outcome. It still has is a measure on the outcome of the children.
Your argument is that if you're gonna be bad, be as good in your badness as you can be, and that makes a difference.
We can apply this shit to so many problems and issues that people got. It's just happened now that we applying it to teen kids. Everything got a scale. Everything got a scale. Everything has a scale. Now, whether we're willing to acknowledge a scale in one of the systems because of how self-inflicted that system is on that individual, it's a different conversation. But there's a scale. Whether we're willing to acknowledge it because of that. Like, I'm not willing to acknowledge a scale that exists for the people that go to Pedophile Island. I'm not willing to acknowledge that scale, but a scale exists. On Pedophile Island, there's a scale where somebody is willing to sexually abuse a child and kill them, and there's a scale where somebody is willing to sexually abuse a child and give them candy. It's a fucked up, stupid ass scale, but like, we can't pretend like scales exist. We just gotta accept that we don't want to acknowledge some of them.
I'm saying it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The scale doesn't matter.
It can matter for the outcome. It can matter for the outcome of the kids. It can matter for the outcome. If we talking about the outcome of the kids, we can look at statistics to determine how one type of parent, absent or present, fares for another type of parent, absent. And if one of those parents in one of those situations for those kids differ, again, if the women that NBA Youngboy chose is hood women with no resources who are dependent on men and need that, that's different than women who, Nick Cannon, they got their own career and their own finances and their own money. If they all gonna be single parents, it makes a difference for the outcome of the children. What kind of environments they in, what kind of schools they got access to, what kind of...
Cannon's baby mamas have careers of their own?
At least half of them is goddamn been on Wildin' Out. At least half of them been on Wildin' Out, and Mariah
still involves him. That's not their own career. That's basically fucking your boss.
It don't change that they have finances up to that point if they still don't. And they, whatever, putting them in that scene.
At any point that he wants to, because he's their boss. That actually makes it worse.
That don't even necessarily mean that they still work for him. That don't even necessarily mean they still work for him. But either way, on a scale of those mothers between NBA Youngboy and Nick Cannon, on a scale of those mothers, the most broke one to the most wealthy one, there's going to be different experiences for those children. The ones that live in the most hood environment to the wealthiest environment, there's going to be different experiences for those children. Because Mariah's kids probably going to be fine. Even though they fall under the same category of being two of those 10 kids that Nick Cannon got. They're going to be more fine than another kid. So to me, the discernment make a difference.
Based off of Mariah having money, because we know Mariah's mental health has been in question before as well.
No, I mean, I'm not saying they're gonna have a better experience. I'm saying they make a difference. Everything I've been saying about all these things is that they make a difference. I'm not saying they're making a better difference, but the odds and the statistics of a child that is a single in a single parent home in a violent environment that don't have a father around, that are going to a poor problematic school, if one of those mamas is on that scale on the left, which I would assume maybe one of NBA Youngboy's mama could possibly be that, then statistically they're gonna have a worse time, but they could also go to Harvard. Statistically, a Mariah kid's gonna have a better time. That don't mean they will. If we talking about the outcome for the kids, it ain't nothing we can put our fingers on because a man got 10 kids. That's gonna mean that these kids gonna have a bad time. I mean, it don't mean that a motherfucker should be having kids because their kids might have a good time. I'm just saying it make a difference. Shit, a scale exists for it.
But you just said that there are scales that don't matter. You wouldn't care about the scale for the pedophiles because at the end of the day,
I don't care about the scale for the pedophile, and I care enough about this scale compared to you. I
don't give a fuck about this scale.
Exactly. I care enough about it to argue it. But do I care about it in real life? I don't give a fuck about niggas with 10 kids. I don't. But if I met a kid that I was working with or somebody that came to be an adult and they got 9 siblings, then it would make a difference what the story they telling from that situation. The scale would exist for them. That would inadvertently then exist for me. Like it exists for somebody and it matters to somebody, whether it matters to me and you or not. So yeah, there are some scales that don't exist, but everything is scalable. There's some that don't matter, but I think everything can be on a scale to some degree. I think you believe that too. You just don't give a fuck about this kind of scale.
If the scale don't matter, I don't care about its existing. The reason why scales are important is when it is important and it does help make distinguishes. But if it don't matter, I don't give a fuck about its existing. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care that there's a scale in pedophiles' mind about whether I didn't do this, at least this person did this. I don't give a fuck. You still a pedophile, my nigga. Like, I don't care. You still did what you did. The scale being in existence, I don't care. Doesn't matter to me.
It not mattering to you mean it don't matter to somebody, right? I'm just trying to conceptualize ways that this scale will matter for somebody. And whether we discern it or not, it's not a hill to die on for me or for you. I'm just saying it make a difference to somebody, whether it's the mamas or whether it's the kids.
I'm sure it make a difference to them because I'm sure this is part of the way that they make it okay for themselves because this scale exists because I do have money and I can blah, 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 blah. I'm sure it does matter to them because it makes it okay. Or makes it better. Not okay, it makes it better.
Not even
at least I'm not doing this. At least I'm not in the hood and don't have any means of taking care of my child like it does. It makes it better for them.
Well, not even in the yes, but not also just in that context. In the context that the person who had their kids was the first person and didn't know that it was going to turn into this shit. That scale is, how can I get what I need from you? Understanding that, like, this is what you, like, I understand you can't give some of these folks something, but you going to give me this. I need you to understand that, like, this is what I need from you. So understanding that this how much time you got, I need this many hours per week from you. I need this much finances from you. I need this much communication and FaceTimes from you. That scale existing can just be on the side of somebody creating boundaries and expectations of that person to give them their peace. It don't even have to be a justification. It's like, I'm in this fucking situation now, so I need to figure out how I can get the best that I can for my kids in this situation.
It seems like he progressively chosen women that can say that less and less. Because Mariah was the first who don't really need him, but then progressively now we've gotten down to wilding out girls.
I agree.
A very much different level than Mariah Carey.
I fully agree. I agree. That's why at the beginning I kind of tried to take it away from Nick Cannon because, like, yeah, it really starting to sound like grooming ain't the word, but at least presenting. It's really that problematic shit. Like if the women that he's engaging with are women that he know from work and he got the power at work, this is supposed to be like some of that Travis, what's the dude's name from BET?
Smiley?
Yeah, Travis Smiley. Like, he about got 86 because he was dating somebody that he wrote the checks for. So, and maybe I'm off on my number about half of the women wilding out, but I know some of them were on wilding out. But I mean, I don't agree with the shit at the end of the day. I just probably needed some debate. Cause I don't give a fuck either. But there are fucks to be given somewhere for somebody. Whew, I bet you got a headache after that shit.
I do.
Bro, we probably went, how long with that shit?
Way over.
Jesus.
Way over.
Oh my God. Oh man. Yeah, we 2.5 hours in on the shit now. Damn. I was gonna talk about, it don't matter what I was gonna talk about. You got anything else on your mind?
Nope.
All right. Well, until we have the next conversation.
We out.
Holla.